Welcome to episode 7 of the Just Average People podcast. I've got my, what do you call yourself, a friend?
No.
No. So, a not friend, Stephen Fox, who is a financial accountant, ACCA certified.
Yep.
Yep. So, do you want to do a quick introduction?
Yep.
We was having this joke before we did the podcast that Stephen's going to be the first one to go through all the talking points in like half an hour, and that he was going to just for every answer, for every question, be like, "Yep, yes, that's good. Yep." Okay, so you're a financial accountant. What does that involve? What do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Day to day. So it ranges. Essentially, it's looking after companies' finances.
Okay.
So everything from their bank statements, their bank accounts, entering into the accounting systems, VAT, taxes.
Okay, so normal accounting, normal stuff that the average person probably associates with accounting.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And then there's the kind of the commercial stuff where you'll have like properties. You want to know how much money they're making, how to better use them as a profit center, things like that.
Yeah. Okay, so we obviously won't mention any specifics in terms of the company you work for, but you work for a company that manages property.
Yeah.
That's right. And it's predominantly commercial property, or is it all commercial?
It's commercial, industrial. There's a little offices, and then there's increasing residential.
Okay. Ignoring the residential for now. You said commercial, industrial, and offices. So you've distinguished them as three individual ones. I would have put them together. I would have put them all as commercials. So what would you say the difference between industrial and commercial is?
So commercial is the high streets, kind of retail spaces.
So where the average person probably goes.
Yeah. So shopping centres, the retail parks, convenience parades is technically what we call like the mini high streets, where they have like a couple of fast food places, a residential office, convenience parade.
Parade?
Yeah.
Convenient, and that's what is that official term in the industry?
Yeah.
The convenience parade.
Well, they marketed them as.
And what type of stores can be within that convenience parade, or is it?
It's pretty much anything, but generally you find fast food, maybe a pharmacy,
and like some sort of corners,
like a news agent sometimes, hair salon.
So the typical high street. Okay.
Yeah, it's typical high street.
Okay, so how about something like, I don't know if your company does manage this, but let's say Tesco, for example, or a big supermarket, would that still come under commercial?
Yeah.
If you had done Tesco?
Yeah, we have supermarkets.
Okay. For any of the big ones or smaller ones?
Yeah, we have Tesco's, Waitrose, Aldi.
Okay. Yeah, and would you say
Morrison's
as well? Would you say, generally speaking, the big supermarkets just rent the premises, or would you say any of them own premises as well?
The newer ones, the new brand companies, they prefer to own their own. So they generally purchase the
land and then resurrect it.
Yeah, sometimes the building's there and they just prefer to purchase the land.
Yeah. Okay.
But they do rent as well.
Okay.
They just prefer to buy, but there's not always the option.
Okay. So is it more that there's not the option? Because you would think that a big company like Tesco or Aldi or one of these ones, they should have enough money to purchase it. Is it really just that they don't always have the option to do it?
It's just sometimes you don't want to sell. Like we refuse to sell that land. They want to be in that space. They need to be on that high street, for example.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They don't have the option if they.
Okay. We own that land, and we go. We're not selling for any price.
Yeah, because it's just going to be.
Or the price we want would be way too much because it's overpriced.
Yeah, and they're like, this just doesn't make financial sense.
So then they rent it.
Yeah. Okay, and you said new supermarkets. Can you mention what names?
Just Aldi and Lidl.
Okay,
the growing brands.
Okay, so just those ones. Yeah, because
they're generally the ones that generally buy their land more than the older historic supermarkets.
Yeah, because I have seen plots where there'll be nothing on there, or they will collapse what's on there, and then they'll resurrect a Lidl or an Audi. And I would assume if they're doing all that effort, they would own the freehold on that.
Yeah, it's not always the case, but yeah, it's
Okay,
generally.
not always the case. So, if it's not always the case, do they own the building then? Like a leasehold, essentially, then? I guess?
Yeah, so there's the freehold, long leasehold, and then just a lease, like a 15, 20-year lease.
Okay.
So there's different types of purchases they can do.
Okay, so that long leasehold, is that more akin to what you might have on a flat or a house? Because some of them can be 90, 100 plus years.
Yeah, it's pretty much exactly that.
Okay, so
It can be up to 999 years, but
I've heard about some places with that as well. Okay.
essentially a premium and then rent every year.
And rent meaning ground rent?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
100 quid or something for the year.
Because with, let's say, apartment blocks, that part of that ground rent is used to cover stuff like, let's say, managing the gardens or cleaning the windows, for example. Do you do any of that, or is it literally just for permission to use the land?
Generally, the ground rent is just kind of the same as a rent, just a really small amount of rent instead.
Okay.
But then the services like the land around it, it depends on the individual contract, but generally it'd be service charge costs that we then manage for them.
Yeah.
Then they have no choice in what we do basically, but they'd have to repay us however much we charge them.
And then you know, like what, mow the grass or whatever.
Yeah, mow the
fix
grass,
fence.
landscape, take security sometimes. Generally they'll have their own security indoors.
Yeah. Okay, so if you go to a big supermarket and they've got a bit of, let's say, a car park around it, and they've got some landscaping, there's some flowers or trees around it, that's not necessarily handled by the supermarket. It could be the landowner.
Not necessarily.
Okay, and you're saying the security on the land itself. So if they've got outside security, that might not be done by the supermarket.
Yeah, generally that would be like shopping centres.
Okay.
Where we have security that we pay for the whole shopping centre.
Yeah.
And then they might have their own security inside the
Yeah,
shop.
yeah.
We'd recharge them no security as part of the service charge for being in that shopping centre.
Oh yeah. So, okay, and that's commercial. What, industrial? What do you classify as that? Just factories, or?
So that's kind of anything ranging from warehouses, transportation hubs.
Like bus stations?
No, it's not transportation. It's kind of like distribution, more like Amazon's big hubs where they just store stuff and move it around.
Okay, how about...
It's kind of different classification to a warehouse.
How about stuff like DPD or UPS where they have all their trucks? Would that be industrial or not?
Yeah, we'd class that as industrial, but it'd be sub-brands within industrial. But
yeah, but it'd be industrial.
It's kind of like convenience parades, retail parades, separate commercial.
Okay, and retail parade, what's the retail parade again? Is that like a...
It's very similar to convenience parade, but it's like a slightly different layout, basically.
Okay.
Like, a retail parade generally be kind of like the Arcadian.
Okay. Yeah.
We also half class that as a shopping centre, but shopping centres have roofs over them. That's the difference, really, between shopping centre and retail parades.
Does an Arcadian have a roof?
No, it's all a...
Is it?
It's kind of like
it is covered though, isn't it?
It's only covered for the. Not really. All the outside is kind of like U shape, isn't it? With the middle space open. It's just like a building around it, but you can't go inside it to get to the other shops.
I'm trying to make sure I'm picturing which one the Arcadian is again.
It's the
one, and it goes down when if you got the main. You got the Dudley High Street. You go down. You got the main section where the market stores are.
That's Churchill, isn't it? Arcadian's Birmingham.
Oh, sorry.
Churchill's a shopping centre.
Yeah. Because I was thinking of the Churchill one.
Yeah, that's what. That's basically the difference.
Okay. Yeah. So the what was this? What you said? Shopping centre. What was the other one?
Retail parade.
That doesn't have a roof.
Yeah, basically, it's more like an open air shopping centre.
Okay. And so yeah, in that Churchill, even in, is it Churchill when you go down? Is it the Fountain Arcade? Is that still part of Churchill? Where you got some meat shops and some other shops like clothes repair shops and that. Before it goes downhill inside?
Everything inside that bit of the building is like to the farm foods.
No, I'm not talking about that section.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this after because obviously I think we're digressing now. So, commercial, industrial. You mentioned the third one.
Office.
Office, and that's obviously just offices.
No.
Okay. Would you say industrial and office is technically a sub branch of commercial? Could you call them all commercial technically or not?
Generally have them separated.
Okay. So they're main categories, and within them you have individual.
Depends on the definition you go with. You could be all part of the same thing. Is that commercial and residential?
Because
the two ultimate separations.
I was always under the assumption of you got residential and you got commercial. And commercial is everything business related, whether that's a factory, a supermarket, car farm warehouse, or whatever, or like the dessert bar around the corner.
If you go with legal definitions, then generally that is the case.
Oh, is that what it is? Is it more internal definitions?
Yeah.
But would you say other similar companies probably follow similar definitions?
I imagine so.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that's what your company mainly handles because you handle mainly property. And do you deal with the accounts of your company or the accounts of the properties they're managing?
So we manage properties, but we own all of the properties we manage.
Yeah. Okay.
So we do the accounts, everything from the service charge accounts, which you have to basically do like a mini P&L, profit and loss for each property, and then give it to each shop basically to recharge them.
Okay.
Because they have the right to challenge any cost in there, so you have to be above board and everything.
Yeah.
So we do all the way up to statutory accounts for the company. So it's kind of every property belongs to a company.
Mm-hmm.
So all those numbers feed into those companies, which then feeds into the ultimate group.
Okay. So when you say company, you're just talking about sub companies in your company.
Limited. They're all limited companies.
Yeah. What's it called? Child companies or divisions?
Subsidiaries.
So subsidiaries. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, okay. So do you just do that for legal purposes to protect yourself? Mainly?
Yeah, it's legal purposes and to do with loan agreements.
Okay. Is it just easier when there's a separate company on per property?
It's not a separate company per property, but we have kind of like groups of properties for each company.
Okay, so you might have.
It's kind of like the loan and the banks. They want like clean companies sometimes, so you move properties into those companies to set up new companies.
When you say clean, what do you mean?
Like brand new companies. Basically.
Okay, you just mean like a new company.
Yeah. Like it doesn't have any legacy things on the balance sheet.
Okay, yeah, I've read that the banks, once you get to a certain, let's say, lending amount, one certain bank just won't want to lend to you anymore because they're spreading their.
Like generally, we won't have multiple loans within the same company, so we won't have two separate bank loans.
Okay.
In the same company, it'd be the same bank basically that does that loan for that company.
Yeah. Okay. And is this something that you, like, the company ever has to hide from the bank that you've got multiple companies, or that there's another company that's handling part of the portfolio and this new company is handling this part of the portfolio? Or...
No, they know. It's all in the loan documents. It's all legally documented.
Do they ever?
They have all the company structure and it's available online as well. So
yeah, because you're saying it's a group, so there's all the subsidiaries underneath it. Do you technically work for the group then?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're at the head office, aren't you?
Yeah. Generally, there's a company that's like the group company.
Yeah.
Kind of like the head office company rather than the group company.
Yeah.
The actual group head company generally doesn't have much going through it.
Okay.
But then it has the consolidated accounts for all the other companies.
So when you say not going through it, do you mean money in the bank not going through it that much? Is that what you mean? Or?
Yeah, so basically like our group company, our head group company, it doesn't actually do any trading, doesn't have any properties.
Okay.
It doesn't even have really any employees working for it, technically. It's just like the head of that shareholding listing.
Yeah.
Which then just goes into another shareholders. Then branches off to the other shareholders.
Okay.
It's a complicated web.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, is the company a $1 billion company? A £1 billion company, would you say? Or in the hundreds of millions? So I know it's big.
I think it's in the billions,
It's
at
in the
least
billion.
asset wise. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what it was. Okay, so
I
it's in
mean,
the
my
billions.
company's, for the accounts, it's hundreds of millions in assets just for
Yeah.
my companies.
Well, your company, as in just the accounts, you mean that you
Yeah, so we have
handle?
multiple financial accountants.
Yeah.
We all look after a set number of companies. I have about 4.
Okay. How many is there in total?
About 16, 17, something like
Okay, so nothing. Oh,
that.
nothing
Some of those
crazy.
are dormant and have not much going for them.
Okay. Like I said, some of them are huge as well
Yeah.
compared to. Would you say that the majority of the revenue coming in is concentrated in 2 or 3 companies, 70-80% of it, or is it
No,
pretty
it's about
distributed?
eight or 9 companies.
Okay.
There's about 4 or 5 big ones, and then the other ones kind of medium
Yeah.
size ish.
Okay.
They have like one shopping centre or something in the company.
How old is the company you work for?
It was around before I was alive.
Okay.
At least 30 years ish.
Okay. And I don't know, you think, is it owned by 2 families or something like that? The group?
Yeah, so it's a UK family and then a Greek family.
Yeah, okay. Do they have equal shares? Obviously, if there's anything that you don't want to mention or discuss, let me know and we can just skip over that anytime. But yeah,
It's roughly equal.
roughly equal. Okay. Which family does more of the day to day, or is it pretty equal on that as well?
Well, they generally leave it to the board,
Okay.
the board of directors.
Are they public company?
No, it's all limited.
So it's all private. Okay.
Yeah.
There's not a public company. I can't just go on to IG Index and buy some shares in
No,
StevensEmployer.com.
no.
No,
I mean, you could offer them, but they probably want a lot of money.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'll whack down £100, and they'll be like, the documentation is going to cost more than that.
I mean, they'll give you a dormant company for that.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's got nothing in there, so you're literally not buying anything. But yeah, you're buying £100 in cash. That's all in those accounts.
So those dormant companies, were they active at one point, or are they part of some sort of complex accounting?
No, they've previously been used.
Okay. Any reason they haven't just shut them down entirely?
I think we keep them in case we want to reuse them.
Is
It's easier than set up a new company.
And is it because it's easier than setting up a new company in general, or setting up a new company to the size and the amount of money that would be going through the accounts for your situation?
No, it's generally that'd be the same. It wouldn't be an issue for that. It's just you don't have the extra paperwork of setting up a new company.
Okay, and it's I would assume that you could start using the accounts or the books a lot quicker than if you're setting up a new one, or to reactivate.
I mean, they're generally always active, but in our account system,
Yeah.
it's just we won't have to make those new company
Yeah.
numbers.
Okay, so we need, because these companies, I'm guessing they've been marked as dormant to the government as well.
Yeah.
Okay. If you, or let's say if I had a dormant company and I wanted to start reusing it again, can I just literally next day start using it as normal?
Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, so it's and start.
Just declare it in your accounts that the previously a dormant company.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not like if I want to set up a new company, it'll take a bit of time before a business bank account is open, before VAT, before HMRC, everything that's all set up.
Well, you've got to get a company number and everything,
Yeah, all that
VAT
stuff.
number. Whereas these companies are already a part of that VAT group and everything's set up.
Okay.
We don't have to mess about with loads of stuff.
Yeah, I guess it does make sense then, because even though there'll be some cost to keeping a dormant company, the amount of money that your company will be going through is such a minimal cost. Like I said, it's not worth the downside to actually shut it down completely.
I mean, ultimately, the cost is just filing the accounts and me spending 5 minutes making the accounts at year end. That's about it.
Yeah. So they don't really hire any extra employees to be as a result of those dormant companies.
Not really,
at any level.
We just get assigned to us, and one of us will do.
Yeah, and those dormant companies, they don't have offices that need to be cleaned or put electricity through or anything like that.
No, well, none of those companies technically really have employees. They have directors.
Yeah.
And sometimes they have some of the shopping centre staff, but most of the time we have a dedicated kind of employee head office company, and
Oh,
that's the one that has all the employees attached to it.
okay. So that sounds interesting, especially for anyone that wants to do property-based stuff. So you've been working here for 4 years, 5 years now?
I think it's just ticked onto the fifth year.
Okay. Was this the second or the third job after you graduated?
Third?
Third.
Yeah.
Did you? Was it in a? Because this isn't an accounting company. This is a property company where you work in the accounting department.
Yeah.
Did you work for a accounting company before this?
No, I never wanted to.
You didn't?
No.
What was the first company? What did they do after you graduated from uni?
It was kind of debt collection stuff.
Okay. And again, you was just in the accounting department,
Yeah.
I'm guessing?
Yeah.
I'm guessing they were pretty big as well then?
They had more employees than we do now, but turnover-wise, they made a lot less money.
Yeah. Were those employees debt collectors a lot of the time? Or
It's kind of like a call center.
yeah, that's what I mean. I'm not talking about debt collectors with
Yeah.
some big bold guy that comes to your door with two bigger guys.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
No. You might have had a few of them as well, but obviously, not kind of call center, but mainly debt collector. Is that what a lot of the employees?
Yeah. So they use basically a UK based call center, which they had all employees work for them.
Yeah.
Rather than offshore, kind of India call center.
Yeah, because I don't think the same intimidation will come from someone overseas.
But generally, they were all kind of just out of school, 18, 19, to like 22-ish years old. So there was a lot of staff turnover.
Okay, yeah, I can imagine.
Generally, it wasn't the highest paid job, and
I was about to get onto that.
It was long hours, I think, as well.
I was going to ask you, is the pay just similar to another call centre then?
I imagine so. I've never worked as a call centre, so I don't know what the actual pay rates are, but
I've heard they're not.
I knew they could earn quite a lot, but they'd have to do a lot of overtime.
Yeah. Now, is that earning a lot just through hours, or is that through? Do they get a percentage of? Let's say if they get debt to
it was just hours.
It's hours. Okay. Yeah, because imagine if they got a percentage, let's say 2% or 5%, something relatively low, but a percentage of the debt collected, and some of those debts could be pretty sizable.
Yeah, the problem with that though is it's very legally regulated debt collection is.
Yeah, I can
with the
imagine.
FCA. So they couldn't really do a lot, and they basically just have to offer payment plans, and if they can't pay it, then refer them to charities that can help negotiate even lower payment plans.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, they don't really have incentive to collect.
Yeah.
We basically just bought debts from other companies like Empower and other places, and then collected those debts as best as we could.
So what's it called? I saw it in a movie, but do you get something like a debt sheet or debt slip or something per debt? Is that what they were buying?
Yeah, like Empower, people haven't paid their electricity. They'll buy a bunch of debts off the electricity company, paying a fraction of the price.
Yeah.
And then they'll collect it. But then there's also the one where we get paid by that company to collect their debts from them.
Okay.
So they kind of did all of it.
Which one was more aggressive, do you think?
But both of them were the same.
Okay.
Because the FCA rules are very strict.
Yeah. Was there anyone that you remember there that was known to be aggressive with their debt collecting? Must have had that one person that was.
Not really, no.
They were pretty chill.
I think because of their ages and they're just out of school, generally it's first job.
Yeah, okay.
They would kind of just follow a script, basically.
Okay, it's like hello, Mr. Smith, you have this outstanding debt, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and they'd have to always go through, like, what they can actually pay.
Yeah.
And they'd have to fill out systems, and the calls are always monitored, and they're reviewed regularly, and then their performance is graded on that.
So, based on your experience in just that work, because that's the only debt collection company you've worked for, isn't it? So, based on that experience, would you say it's a far cry from what they show in movies and TV shows?
It's very different from personal debt to business debt.
Which one was yours again?
Personal debt.
Personal debt. So,
like the business debt with the current company, they're kind of more aggressive with collecting it.
Is that just because of the size of the numbers?
Yeah, because it's businesses as well. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not FCA regulated.
Isn't
what
it?
you can do. Yeah.
Oh, so
there's legal rules and stuff, but
Would you say it's less regulated with
Yeah, because
business?
you can send them around the bailiffs and then they can like seize their goods, or you've got a contract with them.
Yeah.
So if they're using a shop,
Okay.
they can't keep. You can stop them trading in the shop. It's not going to pay the rent.
Okay. So when you talk about seizing goods, we always think, some bailiffs go in or some heavy men go in, let's say pick TV or, whatever physical assets they are. Could you equally and, let's say, easily seize non-physical goods as well? Or assets they may own?
Non-physical. What like?
I mean, probably the average company wouldn't have, but if they had some sort of share. Okay, well, what if you was a company who was some sort of stock brokerage company and some sort of share dealing company? Their assets would mainly be digital. Like their office chairs and their tables aren't going to be worth as much as their shares.
You'd have to go for the courts and get court orders.
So you can't just go and start picking stuff up.
Even for stock, you kind of need court orders and bailiffs kind of sort that legal stuff out and what they can and can't do.
But it can be done the way you can just like take shares off them or some other.
I mean, that would be. I think they'd technically liquidate them and wind the company up before they did that.
Okay.
Even stock, you generally don't move it. You just kind of like put court orders against it.
Yeah.
So they can't sell it and stuff until you've paid you off.
Yeah. Okay.
We do auction off stock and stuff, but generally they've left stuff in buildings and then you auction it off.
Yeah. Okay. And so that was the first company you worked for. Current one is property. Did you work for one in between again?
Very briefly.
Yeah.
Wasn't much about that. I was just doing the company accounts.
What was that company accounts? What was the company again? I mean, as in, like, what type of company was it? Was it business?
It's just the retail kind of stuff.
Okay.
It wasn't really anything like the current jobs.
No.
Or the other two.
Okay. Out of the three that you worked for, which one have you enjoyed the most doing that?
The career's definitely taken off more than this current one.
Wow. But do you feel like that's because this is the one that you got ACCA certified and you've had a few years working? Because if, let's say, the first one, how long did you work at the first one again?
It was about 12 months.
Okay, so yeah. So naturally, you wouldn't expect too much to happen in the first year if you're just a junior out of uni?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess, but then it's the latest one's just where the career's kind of just exploded. So that's probably why
it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Yes,
like the people and stuff were good in the first one, but
but obviously
the latest one's much more what I want to do. So
yeah, okay, that's good. So doing the property stuff, your company does the property stuff. Has that made you want to do investments of your own in property, personal investments?
Not really. There's a lot of money in it, but not really interested too much in doing it myself.
Okay, so it's not fueled a desire of thinking I'll get a couple of buy-to-lets or HMOs or something like that.
No.
Okay.
I mean, generally we don't really do that either.
We
do much bigger stuff. So it's...
But because you're still doing property, still some sort of rental aspect around the properties. I'm just getting at that. It's like obviously you can't just go and get a £10 million plot of land, but you could do it on a small scale, whether that's just a flat or a house or something, potentially. Okay, has it made you want to do any sort of investing or more so do investing?
I mean, this hasn't. Okay. Like the job hasn't really. Like the goal always is to have some of that.
Yeah.
Because it's always good to have a second income.
Yeah.
But not necessarily because of this or the field I'm in or anything like that.
Okay, so being around these deals hasn't really made you... Have it put you off anything at all after seeing certain things?
I mean, it's made me see that leasehold is probably not something I'd ever want to go into, like a long leasehold.
As in, you live in there?
Yeah, I'd never want to buy a long leasehold. Seeing it from this side, I'd never want to do it. Okay.
Now, when you say buying a long leasehold, as in buying a flat with a long leasehold?
Yeah.
Or buying the leasehold itself?
Buying the flat.
Okay, buying the flat. Okay, look, why would you say that? Because I was always under the assumption that when, let's say, if you bought a property, let's say a flat for renting out purposes, you ideally want the lease to be as long as possible, preferably 125 years plus. You don't want it to be too low because otherwise there's certain problems with the banks because they won't like you below a certain threshold. I think 80 or 90 years old.
Yeah,
reading.
It's relatively easy to extend the leases.
Yeah, I've
in
heard
that case.
you can do that.
It costs a little bit more, like obviously.
Yeah.
You're extending it by about 50, 100 years.
Probably, yeah.
There's going to be a little premium.
Yeah.
But it's just not something I'd ever want to go in with service charge hanging over it. And
is it a service charge aspect of it?
That is a big deal. But then it's also the fact that
you don't pay for insurance.
You've not technically brought it. No, you'd still pay.
Building insurance.
Yeah, you have to contribute to the building insurance as well.
But isn't that covered in service charge? Or?
No.
Oh, is that a separate?
Generally separate, yeah.
Separate, okay.
You can negotiate in the contracts.
Okay.
But general, like a base contract, you pay ground rent, service charge, and insurance.
For regular residential or commercial, you're talking about?
Residential flats.
Residential, okay.
If you buy a leasehold,
that's
generally what you get. Even with houses, you can buy leasehold houses.
I know, I've seen a few.
I mean, in the contracts, there'll often be ground rent, service charge.
Yeah.
You wouldn't necessarily pay for insurance then, but...
Okay. Yeah, because I just thought with flats, because it's more shared. With a house, let's say if you have a detached house, that's just you and let's say your family. Whereas with a flat, let's say there's 100 flats in there, it's like who's really responsible for the building?
I mean, yeah, that's the benefit of it is there's a service charge for everybody, but you've got issues with who's managing that money.
Oh yeah, like
what they're spending the money on.
Yeah, if you have a good company that's servicing and handling the flat, then that's fine. But if you have somebody that's not really spending that money, well, that's not good. I remember
there's a lot of companies out there that all they do is manage service charge. For property owners. Like us, we don't use them because we do it internally. But this whole company's just based on that, and that's their whole thing, and they make a lot of money out of it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So.
Okay. So yeah, we discussed about property. I'll ask one question before we move on. Being around all that stuff, is there any tips or tricks that you've picked up or learned that you would recommend to people? Any multiple tips or tricks about property or about investing?
Not really.
Nothing that comes to mind?
No.
Nothing major?
No.
Okay. Okay, we can move on to the next topic then. That was the introduction. And next topic is economy.
It's quite good, isn't it?
It's quite good.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the economy? Where would you want it to go? What don't you like currently in the economy?
It's a very big question.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know where to start with that.
Okay, let's start with property.
Okay.
Okay, because we've been looking for houses.
Yep.
There's obviously property, sales halted for a brief period of time at the start of Corona last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he opened, all that pent-up demand exploded and then the prices started going up. So there was that. How do you think the economy is handling the housing market, and how do you think that's going to be the next few years?
I think the economy will just go back to how it was, going 1 or 2% every year. Okay,
general inflation then.
Yeah, so it's not... I mean, the housing market and the recession that we had, I think we're just about to come out of that. It's 2 quarters. I think then we went back into a recession after the December quarter.
Yeah.
But that wasn't really a recession like 2008 and previous ones. It was just because you lock it down. And that's why we bounced back quite as much as we have. So I don't think that's really a recession. Housing market, I don't know. That's just going to keep going up because I want to buy a house.
Yeah, and do you feel like in Soslo, as soon as you get it, you'll feel like people are just going to start going down?
I mean, we'll look at cycles in the economy.
Yeah.
Housing prices are supposed to drop when recessions happen.
Yeah.
But they didn't drop when this recession happened.
They didn't, but
they actually increased.
Government did prop it up they had that pent up demand that I was saying because the things halted. It seems to be pretty in line with the property cycle, like 17, 18 year property cycle. They can read on, like, I don't know why economists came up with this, but it seems to be pretty in line with what the property cycle is predicting. They're saying that probably up till the mid 2020, 25, 26, the property prices will generally go up over the next 4 to 5 years, and then they'll have the correction and start going down again. That's what the property cycle is predicting.
But then even the 2008 correction, that dropped heavily.
Yeah.
But we're miles above that.
Oh yeah, but that's what
and it corrected within 5-6 years we'd already got back to the 2008 levels.
That's 1 second. I'll get up the property cycle on my phone. Property cycle.
I think ultimately though, there's only so much capacity out there and houses available, and supply is going up if population increases.
Oh yeah, you mean rent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people just don't want to live apartments as much as in this country.
Oh yeah, there's several. Okay, so the property cycle, first 1 to 7 years is the recovery phase. Having come out of a previous issue, and then they say there's round about the 7th year mark. There's usually a mid-cycle dip, and then from there 7 to 14 is explosive phase. So that's what they're saying we're in now, and the predictions are your end 2025, 2026. Then from there, the last 4 or so years is the recession phase, and then they say that just starts again. But it's because the recession phase usually ends at a point that's really higher than the starting point of the recovery phase. So it's usually in the long run. That's what a lot of property investors say, that in the long run, over 20, 30, 40 years, the prices will go up. You will see dips. So if you try and time the market and think, okay, I'll invest now, and in 6 to 24 months I'll sell it, that may not work out for you. But in the long run, it will generally work out. But yeah, that's what the property cycle is, predicting.
But so if you compare that though to the residential and commercial property, I think they're on separate cycles.
I think this is more with residential.
Because even like commercial property with industrial and retail.
Yeah.
Even with retail, say at shopping centres, their prices are dramatically decreasing at the minute, the value.
Yeah.
Which for the last year, and they're probably going to continue doing that.
Yeah.
But retail parks, out-of-town parks, they're increasing. And kind of retail parades, they're continuing to increase. They haven't really seen a dip in kind of value. People just move into those kind of areas instead.
Okay.
But away from shopping centres. But then you've also got kind of retail and industrial prices, and kind of how they perform.
Yeah.
They work on kind of the opposite to each other.
Yeah.
So when retail's performing really well, industrial generally is losing value.
Yeah.
And then vice versa.
Okay.
Generally, kind of recessions, industrial tends to do better.
Yeah, and commercial goes down generally. Yeah, I think that sort of makes sense, because people always need a place to stay, but they can sometimes do without buying certain goods or services.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the problem with commercial stuff is, yes, some of those things might be needed, but the prices can be stagnant for a long time. Whereas residential, you usually either get the going up or the going down.
I mean, shopping centres, you've seen all the people leaving shopping centres or the companies.
Yeah.
But they were in decline before this happened. And they've been in decline for a while. This is this kind of sped up process.
Oh yeah, they was on the edge, and it's just sort of tapped them on the back and they fallen off. That's all it was.
Yeah, for the companies, but the values for shopping centres, they were decreasing for years.
Oh well,
a couple of years before this happened. People have been moving away footfall wise for a while.
Yeah.
Partly business rates is an issue there.
Business rates from the banks or
from the government, the councils.
Okay, so what sort of rates are you referring to? Obviously, these aren't rates that the average person deals with, because they're living at
so
home.
it's essentially council tax for businesses.
Is that a percentage, or is it banned?
It's banned. So each council has different kind of rates. Generally around, roughly, for most businesses, around 0.5, so 0.5p on the available value.
Okay.
it's like 50% basically. The rateable value is determined by the council valuations office.
Okay.
It's kind of like how much rent can you get for a year.
Yeah.
So like it's not actually generally that accurate, but it's in the ballpark.
Okay. So those rates, and are they only for businesses with physical premises?
Yes, yeah, so it's on particular units. So,
yeah. So if you have an online business that you're doing from home, you don't get that rate.
You don't, but technically you're supposed to tell the council that you've got a business operating, and then you pay business rates on that part of your house.
Okay.
So generally, you should be doing that if you've got a business working from home.
But then I guess...
And if they ever found out, then you could be in trouble, basically.
Yeah. But I guess really it would depend on the size of the business, because if it's a tiny outfit anyway, they'll probably be just smacking on the wrist.
Yeah, it'd be determined by you and the council how strict they want to be.
Yeah, but then I guess if you have declared, let's say, half your house for business purposes and paying certain rates, you would then obviously also be able to offset certain expenses as well of your house.
I mean, if you have a business working from home, then you can, in your sole trader accounts, deduct portions of your rent, your council tax, and heat and light and things like that.
Okay, so it probably works out anyway. Okay, so that's housing, and that's just housing. But what about economy in general? How do you think the economy is going? Global economy and UK economy. We're both from the UK.
I don't know. The last year has been hard to determine. Just kind of the fake drop. It's just going to continue to increase.
You don't think a crash is due?
I mean,
usually crash happens every 10 or so years. Major one every 20 years.
Possibly.
Yeah,
generally happened because of something though. 2008 was because of the banks overlending mortgages.
Yeah.
And then nobody could get credit anymore.
I feel like with this, yes, Corona may have been the reason to blame, but it's sort of pulled the cover over some of the problems that were in the economy, and some of the student loans are obviously very high. I think that could be maybe not yet, but I think that could be the cause of a major crisis in the future, especially in America, but even in this country. I think that could tip something over, student loans, if something isn't rectified.
I don't think this country will have the effect, because student loans are basically a tax rather than a loan.
Yeah, okay, they are, to be fair. But America definitely. Saying that the housing thing was more of a thing in America, and we just sort of got the...
I mean, the housing thing was caused by American banks and their accounting regulations they have in America.
Yeah.
Which is... It's not the best system.
Nope.
And it's different from the rest of the world.
Yes.
But you kind of have the world system, and then you have American system, governed by their government.
But because they're so powerful and the world is so dependent and linked with America, we was all affected anyway.
Well, that's more linked because of the loans between banks, between countries.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of investments and stuff in those countries, and America crashed, and it caused the world to crash.
Okay. So, anything else you want to say about economy before we move on?
No, really.
Okay, so next topic, crypto. What do you know about it? What do you think about it?
It's a phase.
It's a phase, okay. Yeah.
It's a phase in the sense of how it's currently.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that in a way.
It's kind of, I'd compare it to probably the .com kind of bubble.
So late 90s, right?
Yeah. Which you hear more about than you actually know about, seeing as we were very young at that point.
Oh yeah, well, especially if we were.
Yeah.
We were under 10.
Yeah. So it's not going to last, but it will change currencies.
Okay. So you do think that some sort of decentralized system is
I don't
the future?
think a decentralized system will happen.
Do you think it'll be
you might want it to happen, but it'll go back to very controlled, just with digital kind of currencies.
Okay.
China have got their currency. The English, the British are bringing out their digital currency.
Yeah.
The Americans will do it. I think the Chinese recently they've been testing their digital currency for a while.
Yeah.
Expanding it out. And now they've gone, well, Bitcoins, we're banning you.
Yeah.
And we're banning trading.
bans with the different currencies happen now and again, and that obviously drops the price, and then usually things recover.
But I don't think crypto will work because of how decentralized it is. It's
Okay.
just too open to abuse with crime and
Yeah.
illicit activities.
Okay, so is it just that part of it you don't think that will prevent it from working, or do you think
I think that's the part which will make governments in the end stand up and ban it.
Okay. Do you
Which
think...
I think they'll do is they'll ban you being able to transfer it between normal currencies and crypto. So you won't be able to buy and sell basically into our normal day-to-day currencies.
Do you think completely, or just in huge quantities that...
I think they'll ban it completely, and they'll ban companies from trading in it.
Okay, so you're saying, because currently...
I mean, you do that, you've killed it.
Yeah, because currently, let's say if I have £100, I could convert that into Bitcoin. It'd be a very low amount, but I'll convert that into Bitcoin. I could send that Bitcoin to you. You could convert that Bitcoin, let's say, into Ether, so another cryptocurrency, and you could convert that back into pounds or dollars.
Yeah.
So you think that there'll be the governments will say you can't convert pounds or dollars to crypto?
I think eventually, yeah.
And vice versa?
That's where it's going.
And vice versa?
Yeah.
So you'll say there'll just be two isolated systems?
They might let you buy it, but they won't let you sell it back to like pounds and dollars and any other currency.
Do you think they might put extra regulation where if you do want to sell it, there's a lot of extra checks that have to be done?
Only Americans have just introduced that, haven't they? If you're more than $10,000 worth,
when you're doing transfers,
you've got to report it to their regulation and their money laundering kind of stuff.
Yeah, I saw that with
that's the
Janet
first
Yellen
stage,
announcing that.
But they haven't got their digital currency yet, and when they get that, America's very territorial with their rules. That's why they have their own accounting standards. Basically, the only reason why they haven't converted to the world accounting standards is because they don't get control of it.
Yeah.
Basically, the world accounting standards are governed by a world council, basically, where it's not governments. They have no control over it, basically. But America's system, the American government and the Department of Treasury, I think it is, they directly influence and control the accounting standards in America. The only way they would consider joining the world is if they had more oversight say over that.
Then that defeats the purpose of it.
Yeah, which the world doesn't want to do.
Yeah.
Because why should we have America's rules?
Oh, yeah.
Which didn't work in 2008. Don't work now. Didn't work with Enron.
Oh, yeah, Enron.
Yeah.
I would like a good biopic movie. I know they had that movie, Enron Smartest Guys in the Room, but that was just a documentary. Because did you study there at uni? Was that part of one of your modules?
It's part of every accounting.
Is it?
You have to study ethics.
Yeah.
And Enron is the kind of...
It's the one that comes up.
It governs, it's why ethics is a thing in accountancy.
But what I find... Have you ever looked at what happened to Enron in terms of what it became after it got shut down?
No, I just know all the guys kind of got imprisoned and fined heavily.
Well, another company came out of it, a very similar one, and their assets are pretty high as well. Like, that sounds a bit suspect to me.
I mean, it was a legit company, but they just inflated everything, inflated their growth.
Oh yeah,
by illegal means.
Oh yeah, like there was
it had a lot of legit, like
subdivisions.
Yeah, well, it had a legit base, kind of a strong base.
Yeah,
and then they just they couldn't make the growth demands that the shareholders and they were saying
on a regular basis,
and they just wanted bonuses.
Yeah, there's that. Have you seen the WeWork documentary?
No.
You've obviously heard of WeWork.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you heard about, obviously all that stuff that went on with WeWork with the high valuation, then it drop in, and then all the bad practices there?
No.
So it sounds, if you watch the documentary, was it HBO? It might have been a HBO documentary, but it was a good, I think Hulu. The Hulu documentary. It was a good documentary, and basically they was using their own accounting standards to measure success. Like in the documentary, the guy Adam Newman, who co-founded the company, he says we use EBITDA, which is an accounting standard for anyone that don't know. But he says we've slightly tweaked it to match the asset class that we have. But the way they tweaked it was so much that it wasn't EBITDA anymore at all. It was what they were measuring. I can't remember what it was, but whatever they was measuring made their company look so much more successful than it was.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen it in any companies that are operating the world using world accounting standards and the Americans.
Yeah.
They have to report in both, essentially. And I don't know if you've seen it, but there's gross differences in what's reported as profit between the two accounting standards.
And is that just because of the difference in the standards?
Yeah, there's different ways you can kind of release and recognise revenue, basically.
Okay. Which one?
I mean, ultimately, profit is just a made up number.
Yeah. Because like
it has very little relation to actual cash. Anything that relates to cash is the cash flow statements.
Yeah.
Because that literally has to be cash.
Oh yeah, because in many ways cash flow is more important because like that's what you're using to run the business.
Yeah.
On a day-to-day basis.
If it doesn't have a positive cash flow, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Maybe not now, but as soon as your funds run out.
Which
is exactly what's happened with Greensill.
With
Greensill, it's not Greensill, it's the Gupta and steel company that's currently in the news.
Okay.
I think Greensill was the financing company that lent them, basically kept them afloat by lending them money every year.
Yeah. Did they know what was happening?
Yeah, I think it sounds like they did.
Okay.
It's currently being legally looked into.
Yeah.
Looked at fraud, so I imagine more is going to come out recently. But
yeah, I'm sure will.
In the end, that company probably not have a positive cash flow, and that financial has just been bankrolling them.
Okay.
And there's been some kind of deal.
Yeah,
between the two owners, and
there must be some incentive for them to do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Greensill went bust, got wound up, or went liquidation, I think it is, and then they instantly tried to get government bailout funds. So,
do you think any of those people will go to jail? Any of the high people? Because obviously a lot of Enron people did.
Maybe that was kind of America. They might get banned from having companies or banned from doing business. The problem is that the steel one is very much a world company.
Yeah.
They'll lose their British assets, I imagine.
Okay.
The government will take control of them.
What happens then when the government takes control of the assets? Are they auctioned off or are they given to Her Majesty? She's just like, what assets have we seized this week?
Well, we owned Northern Rock for a long time. I think we ended up selling that, but we broke it off. I think they can. It was different under the EU. I think they had laws where you're not supposed to have government intervention and things like that. But so I don't know what happens now. We're not in the EU. Yeah,
we're not. Are you fussed about that? That we're not in the EU, Brexit, all that stuff. Obviously, that's sort of taken. It's on the back burner now in a lot of people's mind because of Corona, but it's obviously still happening.
I think it was better in the EU. It probably wasn't perfect, and that's ultimately where. I mean, the issue people had with it is they didn't want the United States of Europe.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen. It is going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
But for us, I think the best thing was you could travel around, work in any of those countries.
Has that really changed? We can still travel.
Yeah, but it's harder to work and live there.
How much harder is it? Obviously, I haven't tried it, so I don't know. I haven't spoken to anyone that has tried it, so I don't know.
To be fair, this only happened this year, so not many people. But
I personally think things won't change much. I think you'll be blown.
No, but, I mean, before that, you could literally just get your passport.
Oh yeah,
you'd only be checked from the British border.
Yeah,
and that's kind of because of our border system. But then once you get in the EU, you didn't need your passport at all.
Yeah. But I'm coming from the perspective of because my family's from Pakistan, and I've seen people from Pakistan and countries like that try to get into the West, like especially now, like back in the 60s and 70s when my parents came here, you could come here and they will give you a visa just like willy-nilly. Like it was a lot looser. But now, because I've seen how hard it is for people, again, I'm not saying they deserve it. I'm not saying that, but I've seen how hard it is for people from countries like that to come here and get a visa or, do get a job here. That in comparison just still seems minor to me. Because obviously I'm used to all those, not me myself, but seeing people having to go through all those, not loopholes, those That's what I'm looking for.
I don't know.
Those steps. So having to go through, that's not the word I was looking for, but having to go through all those steps to actually get a job or get a permanent residence, all that sort of stuff. In comparison, it just seems still relatively minor.
We just had that guarantee before,
Yeah.
where we
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have that anymore.
Yeah, I still think things won't really change much.
I think ultimately the world is heading towards bigger and bigger countries, essentially.
Yeah.
We'll probably keep this notion of Britain or England and Scotland separate, but ultimately might end up with like a grand Europe.
Yeah. Britain, the
and
home of
America,
tea.
rather than United States, and have South America as well.
Yeah, I think the problem with the EU was it was the promise that countries would help each other, and kind of like how America has their states. Like they see America or United States of America, whatever you want to call it, as a country.
Yeah.
Because that is what it's classified as. They see the states, though they're big, the way me and you see the city almost. And as a result, it's a lot easier. I feel that for Americans in one state to send, even though they don't have necessarily a say on a day-to-day basis, but to accept that some of their tax money will go to helping another state, whereas in the EU you got this countries like Germany that are doing very well, and the idea is they're doing well. Some of that money should help the countries, let's say, like Spain and Greece that aren't doing so well. But it was a harder pill for people to swallow that money's going out of my own country. But that's kind of the idea of the EU is meant to be. We're all meant to help each other when things are good and when things are bad.
Yeah.
I think that was part of the problem, that it was a harder pill to swallow because we were classified as separate countries, and whereas in America it's just like we're not separate countries, we just have separate sort of sectors almost. So that was my perception of it.
Yeah, I think ultimately though it falls down because of capitalism, isn't it? In our philosophy for money.
Yeah.
Everyone wants money, but to have that, you kind of don't need a rich and a poor. But that's not capitalism anymore.
No. Okay, so before we move on to the next topic, while we're still on economy and crypto, obviously we've sort of gone off crypto for now, but on economy, have you invested in any crypto?
No.
You've done other investments, haven't you, like shares and stocks and that?
Yeah.
Okay. You ever invested in bonds or anything like that, treasuries?
No, because it's kind of been crappy rates.
Yeah, you don't.
So I'm not doing it.
Just mainly shares. Have you any index funds or mainly just individual shares?
Both.
Both.
I think it's good to have index funds because it's kind of a safety barrier.
Oh yeah, for the long run, yeah. Okay, so with the index funds, unmanaged or managed index funds?
They're managed, I think.
Okay.
Like, because you buy into their managed kind of index funds.
No, but what were the?
Or ETFs, I think.
Yeah, exchange traded fund. But look, is it stuff like S&P and FTSE that you've invested in?
Yeah.
Like Vanguard and okay, so
Vanguard and
S&P, yeah. So it depends on the specific one, but they'll probably get classified as an unmanaged one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I mean, ultimately they have a bunch of shares in a bunch of companies. I know they recently bought Tesla shares, didn't they, in the S&P one?
Yeah, but what I mean, like with the managed ones, you get literally like one broker that's meant to, or a couple of brokers that's meant to know what they're doing, and they literally build up the portfolio themselves. Whereas the index funds are, let's say, the top 100 companies in the economy, or whatever. That's the idea.
Generally, what's the saying? That's the majority of people lose. This is not the same, but the majority of people lose money if they're trading shares.
Oh yeah,
and that includes these so-called professionals.
Oh yeah,
they just they're just salesmen that are good at gambling.
Yeah, or good at persuading you to give them their money.
Yeah,
you give them your money. And what I find funny is if you ever ask them, like I've been, I'm guessing, have you ever been rang by any like a broker or anything? To invest in anything? No. Okay, because I'm on a few trading platforms, as are you, but like I've been rang from like we got this, and sometimes I'm not interested, but sometimes I've literally asked them, "What does your investment portfolio look like?" And the couple of people I've asked, you could tell they didn't really have anything. I'm like, if they're meant to be that good, why aren't they investing their own money? 'Cause that's where the money's to be made. If they're that good. But but the thing is, if they're that good, they're probably not investing our money. They're probably investing Warren Buffett's or money for people that actually have loads of money.
I think generally they're investors. They work for the big brokers.
Yeah.
For a couple of years when they come out of uni
Yeah.
or college in America. It's terrible hours, a lot of pay, but then the end game is probably 4 years down the line they just leave and set up their own companies.
Oh yeah.
And that's probably where they get their portfolios. Before that, they don't really do it because they're working like 20 hours worth of days.
Possibly.
In these brokerages, they're kind of really bad working practices.
But even then, I like to pose the questions. Like, it's like you get these business gurus online on YouTube and whatnot, but it's like how many of them have actually started successful business yet they're...
I think anybody that claims that they really know what they're doing is generally full of it.
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times they've just got in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. And they probably have a certain charisma, a certain way of conveying themselves that people like.
I mean, that's what a salesman.
Yeah.
To make a good salesman, you've got to be like that.
Yeah.
Even for us, we have asset managers that sell units, basically.
Yeah.
They just sell what the idea of that unit could be to somebody and they go, please rent this off us.
Yeah.
They're basically salesmen as well.
Okay. So we just talking about stuff, talking about index funds. Okay, that sounds good. What was we just about to discuss? We about to discuss something before I said before I asked about shares. We're going to discuss something. We moved on from economy.
Roll back the tape.
What was it? Can't believe we've forgotten now, and I think it was we could always discuss it in the next podcast that we get Stephen Fox on. But it wasn't shares. It wasn't crypto. It wasn't housing.
You had Europe, didn't you?
Okay, we was talking about Europe, talking about USA, we spoke about Brexit, and then we better move on. Then I just asked you, have you? Because we just wrapped up, and I said we've just done crypto, or we had been past that for a little while. I said, have you invested in them, or have you invested in any shares? We'll move on to the next topic, and I'll check it out for the next time. Okay, next topic: gaming. Yep. So, what do you think of gaming? Do you like gaming? Or are you one of those people that's like, no, gaming spawns people that go and shoot up police stations and schools?
Yeah, gaming's awful. It's horrible.
It's horrible.
It's the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. Unless you're playing GTA, that's fine. But you just don't want to play cuddly,
No,
kids
because playing GTA teaches you how to Grand Theft Auto, obviously.
Yeah.
So stealing cars is bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally, I learned how to hijack a car from GTA. So
all you have to do is go up to and press triangle.
Yeah. Or sometimes it's locked there, so you have to smash them.
Oh, yeah.
They make it look very easy.
Oh, yeah, smashing the window. They just do that. Then they open it and
then they will sit in the car with glass on the seat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's that.
I mean, every time I break glass, I'm like, I've cut myself half the time with
it.
Oh, yeah. Trying to pick it up.
Yeah. There is that.
I think it's hard, isn't it? Gaming, you have much more free time when you're younger.
Yeah.
So it's something you do much more regularly.
Yeah,
especially us. I think we grew up in that time when it was more like internet gaming became a thing, basically. At least much more widely.
Yeah.
You had like PC gaming, didn't you, and stuff. But
but that was still very special.
You had consoles come out and you could basically just log on. It was easy.
Yeah, it was quick and easy, and
it was no longer a nerdy thing.
No, and with PS3, you didn't have to pay either.
Yeah, it's much more widely accepted now. But I still feel like it's not something you can bring up in jobs.
No, but
you have to really gauge what people around you are like kind of acceptable of, like especially in finance.
But do you just think that's because those people that you will be bringing it up with aren't kids that are growing up now? They're obviously have grown up ages ago, so they've got those other the preconceived notions of yesteryear.
Even around like in my current team, I think there's like 4 of us that are like the same age, pretty much a couple of months apart, and even then we still don't really talk about gaming.
Do you know if any of them were heavy gamers or still are, but just don't
Sometimes
really.
you can talk about it as in when you was a kid and you play games,
Okay.
but you don't necessarily talk about it. You play it now.
So you want to say to them, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go home and play Call of Duty or
Yeah, it's one of
whatever."
those things that people are just. It's not.
Yeah,
It's accepted, but then it's not still widely spoke about in businesses.
it's considered
Like,
childish.
you talk about watching Netflix or Game of Thrones episode, but you
Normally.
wouldn't necessarily talk about you were playing a game on the weekend.
Yeah.
What do you like playing?
Yeah.
It's not really
No,
there
yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
I think
Or
that's going to be something that happen when our age become the head bosses.
yeah. And the kids now are coming into the workforce.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, because
So
obviously,
even like the new people that come in, like the graduates that come into our team, they don't really talk about it.
is it because they know the stigma around it? You think they
Possibly,
sort of,
it's probably exactly how we feel. It's like you play it, but you just don't talk about it because you don't know if it's acceptable to talk about it.
I still, because I'm not in a regular job, I have my own company. But even when I'm being around other people, I still talk about it. I can tell people are like thinking, well, why is he banging on like Call of Duty or Uncharted or Half-Life or whatever? But I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep talking about it. I'm gonna if they don't want to listen, they're more than welcome to leave. And I'll just. But I think that's probably why I get on really well with talking with kids in a social gathering. So let's say if I'm like at a family gathering or something like that, and there's kids there, a lot of time I'll get on with them because the things they're interested in, I'm still interested in.
Well, I can't get behind Fortnite.
No. I don't like Fortnite.
I hate that game.
No. Have you played it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I played it a bit. Didn't like it.
It's fine. Mechanics are fine. The concept is fine. I don't like the jumping and building.
Oh yeah, it is very just sort of floaty, jumpy.
But then I never liked Halo for that as well.
I loved Halo.
Hated the multiplayer.
That's more. Oh, I love that.
Like single player, great. Co-op, great. Hated the multiplayer because of all the jumpy kind of feel to it.
Oh yeah, and people was all over the place.
Yeah.
Especially with the abilities where you could get jetpack or do stuff like that.
Yeah. So it's much better when it's more objective based, I think, than deathmatch based.
Okay. Yeah.
Capture the Flag was generally better on Halo than what was the SWAT, and actually I like SWAT because you generally died quicker on SWAT.
Yeah. I've always just preferred, I think, just classic team deathmatch. Maybe regular deathmatch and something like gun game, or in Call of Duty, 2v2, but that's technically, I guess, just deathmatch anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I just
prefer the more realistic movement and shooters.
Yeah. Because you prefer Battlefield, don't you? The new ones.
I did. The latest two have been awful.
What, 5-1?
5-1, yeah. 1, great concept.
Yeah.
Just boring very quickly.
Yeah. 5 was even worse, so.
5 was... They tried to get more realistic with a gunplay.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't feel great.
No.
And the maps are kind of awful. So it's just overall
weak.
It's very weak.
Yeah, I didn't really play the online. I played the single player stuff. That's mainly what I play. And yeah, Battlefield was weak. Obviously, I've always preferred the older Battlefield games. I remember we were discussing that a week or two ago. Like Battlefield 1, 1942, 2142, and Battlefield 2. I didn't mind Bad Company 1 and 2. You really loved it from 3, didn't you?
3 and 4 were the best. Yeah. I think 3 was mechanics wise slightly better, but 4 had more availability, like options available, customization, things like that.
Yeah. Hardline wasn't interesting.
A lot of people hated that, but for what it was, I quite liked it.
Yeah, it was an interesting experiment.
Yeah. I mean, the shooting was solid. It was basically Battlefield 4 shooting.
Yeah.
It was much more driving police cars and stuff, but it was good.
Yeah, changing things up now and again, experimenting is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, there's still a stigma to it. Yeah, it's still sort of considered like childish, like a children's thing to do. Also,
I don't know if that's just people are kind of jealous because children have more time.
Yeah.
Like even now, I have less time to play games. Yeah. Recently, it's been more recent now when we've started playing some games again.
Yeah.
But
But is that because you've been playing online? Okay, I'll join one match, but you've been playing with me, you, Addy, who we had on the podcast a couple episodes ago, and Lee, who we'll try and get on the podcast. He's gonna be a hard one to get on. I
It'd be a
feel
hard
like
one, yeah.
I feel like if we're gonna get him on, it'll have to be a group one.
You have to ambush him, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, what? He's just recording for 2 hours.
Just turn up his ass and with the stuff.
He's already on. We're like, we're like, you're the closed door. Yeah. You need a video doorbell.
Yeah, I mean, well, before I used to have Battlefield to play, even
Yeah.
when like you guys didn't want to play.
Yeah.
But that's 4 years where they've been a bit rubbish.
Yeah.
I've not really played them that much.
Okay.
Battlefield 4 at uni was, I think it was 3 then. I think it was Battlefield 3 then. I think 4 was just after, or like last year.
Because we came out in second year. I remember we both were playing there in second year.
Yeah, and I total internet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What was I saying?
4 being after uni, and we're talking about us guys playing together.
Yeah. So 4 and 3 was something that I could play singly. Like now, if they had not played, then I probably won't play.
Yeah.
I think games are just a little bit boring at the minute. There's no real single player games that I'm really interested in. Multiplayer games, not necessarily. I mean, the games we're playing now are kind of really old games.
Oh yeah. Like COD, obviously, even though the newer versions, it's still an old one. It's not like a new IP or anything.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Are you gonna get Obviously, you haven't got PS5 yet. We'll discuss PS5 and that in a second. But you're gonna get Mass Effect when you get PS5?
Maybe, but maybe sometime in the future.
Okay.
I'm not someone who cares about going back to relive old games. Like,
I know you love Mass Effect.
Yeah, I loved it, but I don't necessarily want to play it again.
Yeah, it's not like every 3 years you want to play all 4 of them.
Yeah, like a lot of people love kind of nostalgia. Like, they want backwards compatibility on all their consoles.
Yeah, that's like what I want.
I'm like, I've moved on.
Yeah,
I'm on to the next console. I'm on to the next new game. So I don't really care about replaying them. Like, I remember it. It's good. It's even like that with movies. I don't necessarily rewatch a lot of movies.
Yeah, I've noticed that about you.
I have my favourites, like The Gladiator and stuff like that, but I won't necessarily just go, I want to rewatch it. It would have to be like on TV, but that's even less now because I don't watch TV.
Oh, yeah.
Like before, you'd have it live TV, so it'd be like, oh, it's just on.
Yeah.
I think I've rewatched the Harry Potter movies just because they were on every Saturday or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was a couple of years ago. But now, don't watch live TV, so I pick what I want to watch, and I don't really want to go back and rewatch stuff I've already watched.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. But just circling back to I was talking about people not being that open about games. I think it's kind of a perpetual cycle where games is one of those things that has a stigmatism around it. It's childish. You can't talk about it. People grow up. It's something they really enjoyed, but because there's that stigmatism, they can't talk about it. They sort of, almost like banish it, or they sort of degrade it. But then that just creates the cycle even more for the people that are coming into the workforce, that because they can't talk about it, and then they get even more annoyed because it's something that they probably really would like to do if they had, let's say, more free time and it was a bit more acceptable.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like, because I did games programming at uni, and there's obviously a bunch of other people that did it with me as well, and some of the ones that I haven't really spoken to them for a while, but that I have to some extent kept in touch with, they don't play games anymore. Like, they did a game programming degree. At uni, they used to play games, and as far as I'm aware, they still love games, yet they've started doing what's socially considered normal, like going out. If somebody said to them, let's go to the cinema on a Friday night, or go to the pub, or go bowling, or let's say on Saturday, let's do paintballing or something, they'll probably be okay for that. Unless they had something on, they would say yes to that in a heartbeat. But if somebody said to them, let's play, a game tonight or something, it'd be like, I think in the back of the mind, it's just like, oh, I'm grown up now, so I need to sort of do grown up things. How do you feel about that assessment?
I mean, for some people, yes.
Yeah.
I think for other people, and even I think we kind of fall into this gap. Maybe not you, because you're special.
Yeah. I'll take that one.
Like, you just kind of, you work kind of 8 hours, 9 hours a day, you're travelling back and forth.
Yeah.
It's a little bit better now we've been able to work from home, so you have more time.
Yeah.
But you just kind of, you have stuff to do.
Yeah, I
You've
know.
got to get done, you've got like house stuff to do.
Cooking, cleaning, putting things away. Even if it's like you've cleaned, sometimes just putting stuff away can take 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, and then sometimes you're just a bit tired and you don't want to, like, so you just end up watching YouTube or TikToks with Addy.
Yeah.
Things like that. You just kind of do stuff that's kind of simple and doesn't require a lot.
More passive.
You.
Yeah,
So it's just kind of like that, and you're just kind of like, I don't really want to sit and play a game
for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's hard to really do anything for 10 minutes. Like, if you whack on a console or PC game, 10 minutes, forget about it.
No, you're looking at about half an hour.
Yeah, minimum.
I mean, me and Addy the other night was like, oh, we'll play this one game. For like
Smite?
No, it was on Battlefield actually. Addy wanted to try Battlefield.
Has he got it?
Yeah, he's got it now. And
which one?
5. The one of the rubbish ones.
Yeah.
And he's just like, okay, it said like 20 minutes, he was expecting it. The time was nearly up, and then they got to the next objective, and it added an extra 40 minutes. And then even like the tickets counting down went from 40 to 400 again. And then we was there for another 40 minutes. And 10 minutes in, we was like, we just want it to end. We just want to lose.
Yeah. You just want to...
It was like nearly 2 o'clock or something. We both had work next day.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to go. I don't know why we didn't just log off, but we finished the game. We ended up losing, obviously.
Yeah.
But it took another 35 minutes. So then you've committed like an hour to that game.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Whereas stuff on your phone, even if it's not social media related, like TikTok or Snapchat or wherever it is, even with games on your phone, you could whack something on. With Angry Birds is old, but even with Angry Birds or Doodle Jump or Candy Crush or whatever, you could have a quick 5-minute session, potentially. And obviously whether or not you're addicted to it, like some people are, and they keep playing and keep spending money, but you could actually get 5 minutes worth of gameplay, and that could be like a match or something. Whereas if you try and do some console match, 5 minutes, sometimes that barely gets you in the match.
Yeah. Then I've never really liked phone games.
I know you haven't, yeah. Why is that?
I don't know, I've just never really...
So you've been a big gamer.
Cared about them.
You had portable console, you had PSP, I think you had DS and whatnot.
So PSP, even that, I didn't really play it.
Okay.
Like, you'd play it and go, but these games are better on the console.
Okay.
And the console's right there. So I'll just play the console.
Okay.
The only time I'd ever play it was if we was travelling somewhere. And then you could take it. Even then, it was a much lesser experience.
Yeah.
So it was like, I'd rather just be doing something else. Especially now, even like when phone games become more popular.
Yeah.
You always had the internet on your phone. So you just go, I'll just watch YouTube then.
You watch YouTube, okay.
Or I'll go on the internet or read something else or do something else on the internet.
Okay.
It's one of the things where I think generally phone games are much more older audiences. So I know my parents love phone games.
Yeah,
and I know a lot, even like grandparents love phone games.
Yeah, it's an interesting one where like you would never have seen the vast majority of those people, like parents, grandparents, excluding the Wii, excluding that sort of shininess of being able to throw a bowling ball as if you're actually throwing it, even though you just need to flick the wrist. That was actually the best way I found. If you just flick the wrist, you usually get a strike more than if you actually did the motion.
Oh yeah. When you first got a Wii, you did the whole motion like it told you to.
Yeah.
And then you figured out you can just flick your wrist and get a better shot.
Yeah.
And a lot less effort.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and you could sit down.
So it was like, well, I'm just going to do that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. Like, you would never have seen them play GTA or FIFA or Call of Duty, whereas they'll whack on Candy Crush. What sort of games did your grandparents and parents play on? I know they're older people that you know.
I couldn't name them.
What type of games?
They're generally like the duels where you match and shoot a thing in.
So like Candy Crush, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's my theory is it's those games. Like growing up when I was younger, my nan was like a chef in a pub.
Okay.
So we used to spend quite a lot of time in the pub, waiting for it to finish and stuff. So those types of games generally used to be available in pubs
Well, like in an arcade
on
machine.
like an arcade kind of style machine.
Yeah.
So like Candy Crush, pretty much that, but a slightly tweaked version was available on that machine, and generally like the adults would always play that.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's just that they've just now got them on their phone, so they're not paying for that.
Do you
The only difference is you could win money on the pub ones, and
Okay.
you can't on the phone ones.
Do you think it's also because, one, the way they're designed, and two, the gameplay itself, it's easier to get into? It's like if, let's say, your granddad or your grandpa or grandma try to play Call of Duty, they're not going to get to any decent level within a week.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Those types of games are what used to be on Sky Red Button.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. And, it's so laggy, that was.
Barely ever played it.
I tried
because
it.
my parents were always playing it.
But you had to pay to actually get beyond like a certain level.
Yeah.
Do you know that B one?
Yeah. That was the most popular one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the one I used to love. But I used to always get to the level where you have to pay, and I was like, hell no, I'm not paying.
I don't remember what the paying system was like. Was it how many times you die and you had to carry on playing? Like you only get so many lives in a day or things like that.
I can't remember fully. But
all I remember about that is parents constantly playing.
My parents never did. So like that's a
It's
bit
generally like my mom would always play that.
Yeah. But you've seen that now with mobile games. You get a lot of women and females, young and old, that are, even though there's more stigma around women and girls playing, let's say, video games, but they'll be playing Candy Crush or Bejeweled or some other thing. Do your grandparents or parents play anything like Clash of Clans? That's a bit meatier than...
Not that enough.
Not that you know. Because that your granddad's got some...
My granddad doesn't really play. He doesn't really use a phone.
No. He did that old school.
Yeah.
Does he have a mobile phone?
He has a phone, yeah.
Does he have one with like basically proper internet? Or
yeah, generally he has like our hand-me-downs.
Okay.
Like, generally my parents would get a new phone and then they'd give their old ones to them.
And he's not fussed about it, I'm guessing.
No, he doesn't really care. He uses it for phone calls, that's about it.
Yeah, he's at that age where he's just like, I just want to live the whatever years I've got left and just chill.
But he was never really interested in games anyway. Like, he never even played the Sky games.
Okay.
He'd literally play actual games like
Cards.
pool and cards and darts. Never really cared about playing them on digitally.
So have you ever shown him the digital versions of pool and the card games?
Well, emotionally, because my nan would always play those type of games. So.
Yeah.
And he'd be around and obviously know about it. He'd just prefer playing solitaire, actually solitaire rather than digital solitaire.
I remember I tried that once or twice to play it in person. It was so much worse than on the computer. At least for me.
Yeah. I used to play it with actual cards when I was on my grandparents, but that's because you used it with grandparents. But
yeah, you didn't have much to do.
Exactly. You'd be waiting outside so you couldn't go outside. Yeah. So we pretty much that.
How long did the match take, do you think?
What, solitaire?
Yeah.
It'd be pretty quick, I remember. I mean, some games could last, a minute, couldn't they? Really? You could lose if you get really bad luck.
Oh, yeah, because the order of the card, they flip it like,
Yeah.
And the computer, you get, whereas...
Digital, you just go, okay, start again.
Yeah.
But you do it, you got to literally pick them all up, refold them.
Oh, so much effort.
Exactly, it is, yeah.
And I feel like they obviously do a half-decent shuffle on the computer.
Yeah. Grandparents were amazing at shuffling.
What sort of shuffling did they do?
Oh, they did the professional, like poker style shuffle.
Did they ever do that one where the hands aren't touching the? They go from one to the other.
Split it all in half.
Yeah,
just stuff it together. It's great.
I remember the few times.
You always try that and just split them everywhere.
Yeah, or when I try and split them in half and punch them to get into each other, then they bend in.
Oh yeah, they get stuck.
And then they just sort of fold and it don't work.
Yeah,
I feel like they have better ones than I do.
Yeah, and then generally they just play board games.
Without board games?
It was pretty much everything from Monopoly to Connect 4 to
Scrabble.
Mousetrap. Hated Mousetrap because it takes so long to
set up.
Oh,
yeah, because
the payoff is not there.
Yeah,
like it's like even Snakes and Ladders. The payoff is not really there for that game.
But it doesn't take that long to set up.
It doesn't. That's the benefit of that one.
Yeah. Whereas with Mousetrap, it looks so fancy in adverts. That's what it is. It's like all the Because generally speaking, board games, you don't have parts moving.
Yeah.
This one has parts moving. You assemble it. Takes about half an hour to assemble. You need an adult. It even says you need an adult. You need an adult. Because I've assembled it in recent months.
Well, you're essentially constructing like wheels and things to move everything around.
And if you lose one of those pieces, that's the whole game done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, a match takes 10 minutes max.
Yeah.
So it's like after all that effort, it's just. Do your grandparents ever play Twister? Yeah, a bit too much for them.
Grandparents didn't, but I think we did do with parents for a little while.
Okay, but I'm guessing that's when he was young then.
Yeah,
when they were a bit more nimble.
I don't know if they took part in much of it. We had it and we just played.
They probably span it.
Possibly, yeah.
You do need an extra person to do the spinning.
Yeah, you need somebody to sit out.
Because me and my wife.
Generally, get like a grandparent that you have to do it.
Yeah, you know the one that doesn't want to do it, but does sort of semi wants to be act like they're there. Yeah, me and Munda played it a couple of weeks ago, and then I was like, "But who's gonna spin it now?" We're sort of like we don't have
I mean, you can, to be fair, spin it.
It's a bit awkward.
You've got to keep it round with you.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward. And then she was over there, and I was over there. I was like, "But the thing's on the other side of the mat now."
I'm surprised you can get a Google Home to spin it for you.
We didn't think about that.
Because
it does have it built in, doesn't it?
Does it have it built in?
Let's have a look. We got Google here. Okay, Google. Can you play Twister?
According to Wikipedia, Twister is a game of physical skill produced by Milton Bradley Company and Winning Moves Games USA.
Okay, Google.
It is.
Let's play Twister game.
When you ask for a video, tell me which screen you want to watch on.
I think you need to work on that.
No. I'll have a look. Maybe it is available and the command is different.
Yeah.
Maybe Alexa has it, because I feel like Alexa, from what I remember when my sister had Alexa stuff, it was a bit more sort of almost fun like that.
Yeah, it feels like that's one of the things they could be very good for using.
Oh yeah, for Twister for sure. You just be like, okay, Google, spin.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Did you ever play Skyletrix?
Yeah, a little bit, because I don't think we really had. I only played the app cousins or other people.
I only played it with grandparents. I don't know why my granddad had it and he loved it.
Yeah, it seemed like a thing that old people would love.
Yeah,
because it's cars. Was he good at it?
I think so. All I remember about that is how long it takes you to set it up.
Oh yeah.
And then it's just spin around in circles.
Yeah. And if you go you start going too fast, it either gets stuck or it flies off.
Generally, it's more fun if it flies off though.
Oh yeah.
The rule was always never let go of the gas. And then who wins.
I wouldn't mind the Skyletrix. I remember my mum bought me one, and then my dad was like, "Nope, you're returning it. It takes up too much room."
It did take up a lot of room.
It did.
It was like the whole dining table.
Oh yeah. I had it on the floor, so that room was not usable.
I don't know why we didn't put it on the floor. Always dining table.
Yeah, well, at least you're not with the risk of stepping on it than with the dining table.
That's true. But then it was higher up when it flies off. It come at your face.
Oh yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah.
Imagine a kid just hits them in the face.
It's alright. I feel like kids are pretty invulnerable. They can take a lot of damage.
Oh yeah.
I know we got hit ourselves and banged ourselves and stuff quite a lot.
Oh yeah, compared to how we would now. I
think I landed in a cactus once. Cactus plant.
What, you mean an actual cactus plant or one of those fake flat cactus plants?
Well, it was in Nan's garden, and it was just like everywhere.
Yeah.
Across she had all across the flower bed.
What did people have those?
I don't know, but she got rid of it after I got stuck with it all. To get it out.
Did she cry? Was she upset?
I don't remember that. All I remember is I got hurt by it.
Yeah.
And then that was the last time we had that cactus plant.
Or was your mum and dad pissed? Also.
I don't remember.
Yeah. They probably pissed at you.
I was too young to
what part landed on you?
I think I fell on
it. Did your face touch it?
I don't remember.
I
think it was like, all I know is I fell in it.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't major enough that there's any scar left.
I think we were playing football in the garden or something.
Oh, with your brothers?
Yeah.
And did you dive?
Possibly.
Probably.
Landed in the cactus.
And then that came out? Or replaced it,
There's more flowers.
Maybe you should put thorns there.
Flowers and fruit and veg that they grow.
Fruit and veg.
Everything. Onions, tomatoes, cucumbers, strawberries, raspberries, cabbage.
Don't like cabbage.
Carrots. They grow pretty much everything.
That's
They're
alright.
tired. They've got a massive garden, so they use it.
Yep, fair enough. And save money as well.
Yeah.
And that stuff's going to be better for you as well.
Possibly. Yeah.
I don't think it probably make that much of a difference compared to, having sweets and not having sweets. Having, your own grown onions compared to store-bought onions.
Yeah. The best thing is pickled onions that they make.
I don't like onions, and I definitely don't like pickled stuff.
They're much better home than they are.
Are they? Why do I think that is?
I think it's because they're silver skin onions is what they generally use in pickled onions.
Well, in stores?
Yeah.
What's that silver skinned?
It's like the white ones. Like they're just white and don't really have layers.
Oh. You're not talking about cooking onions, are you?
No. They're quite small.
Oh, are they?
I've never seen them sold except for in the jars.
Are they not round as well?
Yeah, they're round.
Are they round? Okay, so I'm thinking of something else.
I've never seen them sold except for in pickled onions in the UK. They're always like the cheap to mid-level price range.
Yeah.
The higher price range, like the homegrown good stuff.
Yeah.
But they're really cheap to do yourself, so...
Yeah, I can imagine. It's just what
I
vinegar.
don't know where it comes from, that price premium for that.
People willing to pay for it, that's probably where it comes from.
Possibly. But don't they sell them at Christmas, don't they?
Wouldn't-
Christmas, they explode on the shops.
I wouldn't know. Don't buy them.
Yeah.
I hate pickles because you like pickle stuff, don't you?
Yeah.
Because you eat onion just like as a side with your sandwich, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Because like the way I might have, I don't know, a banana or apple sliced up, you would have. Do you just have the whole onion and you just bite into it like an apple, or do you have it sliced up?
No, generally I sliced up.
Yeah. Have you ever done that? Bit into it like a whole onion?
Yeah, I did it in the second year in uni. I ate a whole onion.
Was it in front of us?
I don't remember. All I remember is it was pain.
I couldn't imagine. What was it, red or white onion?
White.
Jesus Christ, yeah, that would be.
Yeah, it was really painful.
Yeah. Red onion is probably a bit more manageable. Or purple, it's not quite red.
They're called red onions.
Yeah, they are.
They're sold as red onions.
Yeah, but it's like grapes. The green grapes are technically are classified as white grapes.
Yeah, I only learned that a couple of years ago.
Yes, it's the same, yeah. And then I felt so smart. I
was
saying
like,
to
green,
people.
I like the green grapes.
Yeah.
Like, what? I think I learned that from somebody who was like trying to be smart.
Yeah.
It was like, what's a green grape? They don't exist.
Yeah.
It's like, it looks green to me.
Oh yeah, it's definitely green. There's no mistaking that. Then are the other ones called red grapes? They are.
There's red and black, isn't it?
Yeah, black one. I'm not the biggest fan of them. I mean, I don't mind them.
But generally, it's just on season, isn't it? It's when they sell red or black grapes.
Green one's usually a bit more tangy.
The red's the best.
Yeah, red one's best.
Yeah.
I wonder what, because a lot of stuff that's sort of green and yellow is more acidic or more tangy. There must be something in there that produces that colour.
Maybe.
So I see lemons, limes, the green grapes versus the red grapes, green apples versus red apples.
It's just the species, I imagine.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, like...
It's like cucumbers. There's male and female cucumbers.
They are green.
And I forgot which way around it is, but one of them, the skin's really sour. So you generally have to cut the skin off.
I think you generally don't get them that much in the supermarket because the ones...
Yeah, I think they always give you the other...
Yeah, because the one here, I eat the skin and do you eat the skin on a cucumber? Because some people are so iffy about it, they're like, skin has to be off all fruit and veg.
It's actually why I don't like my grandparents' cucumbers. It's because sometimes it's the sour skin ones and they're like, you gotta cut the skin off, but I like the skin the most.
Do they grow it themselves?
Yeah.
Probably. I wonder if that's easier to grow compared to the other one.
It's an interesting plant. It like kind of grows up and then they like grow off, kind of like tomatoes.
Can you tell the difference looking at them?
He can, but I can't.
So
He's like, that one's a male, that one's a
yeah,
female.
but so if you whacked it into my fridge or the average person's fridge, they wouldn't know that's a funny looking cucumber or something.
They'd probably know it's funny looking because homegrowns generally look.
Okay.
They're not uniform like the shop ones.
Okay, no, not that, but I mean like the male and female.
Yeah, well,
if you get shop
he
one,
put them in front of me, I don't know the difference.
You don't know. You won't be like, and so the skin doesn't look overly different.
No, not to me anyway.
Okay, probably like, are you blind?
Possibly, or it's just he's just grown them for years. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's at least since I've been alive, he's been growing them. So he's got 20 odd years worth of experience in it.
Yeah, that's true. So
and you try it after you make it, so you get that one sell, that one looks different.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, considering people mistake other people, whereas if you've known for 20, 30 years, probably less likely.
Yeah.
Then I'll be saying with
it's a bit like you forgetting my name.
Yep, on the 3 podcasts ago.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yep.
I haven't forgot about that.
Yeah. I can't remember what was even said. Actually, was it something that happened pre-podcast and then Addy just brought it up?
Yeah, it was pre.
Yeah, and they just brought it up as to make a point.
Yeah. I don't know if it was a in-person conversation we had, or it was over the group chat.
Maybe. Yeah, I said something like Lee, you, me. I was like, what did I say? What's the other white person called? Or what's the other person called?
Yeah, I think it's something like that. Yeah. How dare you?
Yeah, because there's 2 Asians and 2 whites. Onions. Yeah, forget that. Did you say you eat garlic as well, or you've ate garlic just raw?
Yeah.
You have? What's that?
Generally, I prefer to cook it, but...
horrible. Oh, it sounds horrible to me.
Yeah, it's not... It's pungent.
Okay. But onions you would readily have with something.
Yeah, so you have a baked potato, you have a salad with onions.
Well, when you say onion in the salad, do you mean mainly onions, or do you mean just a few onions in a salad?
I mean, there's a decent amount of onions in there.
Okay.
Lettuce doesn't generally taste so much, so you get your taste from
the
onions and tomatoes and cucumbers and things like that.
My salad preferably is just cucumber, maybe with red lettuce. But I don't actually like it mixed. I used to like it mixed. I just prefer it all laid out nicely, and then I can choose which one.
When I make it at home, it's not mixed because I don't ever do the mix stage.
Okay.
You cut it all up, so you just stick it on, layer it basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you try to eat it, try and mix it. It tastes a bit better.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, shall we wrap up then? It's been an hour and 37 minutes. We've discussed gaming. We can discuss, obviously, these topics again next time you come. But I think especially gaming, because I felt like there was a lot more so to be discussed there. Plus, because it's a topic we both enjoy.
Like what? What didn't we discuss about gaming?
PS5, so... What do you think about all this stuff with the PS5 and to a certain extent Xbox Series as well? That, it's heavily sold out. Obviously, that's partly because of the chip shortages.
I mean, it's the first console that I'm not necessarily... I don't know if I'm going to buy.
At all? Or
at least soon.
Because it came out last November. Do you think they're saying he ain't going to come in stock till properly at least till next year? But assuming you could easily get one come November, December, would you go on?
Maybe. There's no games I really care about.
Well, if Battlefield 6 comes out by then.
Possibly. That might be the reason.
That might be the thing that tips you.
Yeah.
Xboxes, I'm guessing you ain't going to bother.
No. There's nothing on Xbox that I really want.
Yeah.
Halo, the campaign was really cool, but it's just got a bit boring.
No, you mean. Hopefully the new one's better than 5, because 5 was so weak.
And I just feel Xbox, you can just play it on the PC anyway.
Oh, yeah.
You can get all their stuff on the PC. So.
And even some of the PlayStation stuff, they're not straight away. It's taking a lot of time, like Horizon, Beyond Two Souls, and Detroit Become Human. But they're coming to PC as well.
Ultimately, they just need to get the virtual kind of things where there's no more. You can play console games anywhere.
Oh, you mean streaming?
Yeah. So you don't need a good PC to play stuff.
I mean, I would love for that to happen. It's just internet infrastructure, and I think mainly in this country. I feel like in South Korea, it's probably good.
Yeah, but they only play Smite and League of Legends and things like that probably aren't that demanding. At least hardware-wise. Not
hardware-wise, but to still send the video signal over, because that's still something that requires relatively fast response time.
Yeah.
Because that's the big one. If they were streaming chess, it wouldn't matter. If there's a 1 second delay, or even a 2 second delay.
I think people do stream chess, don't they?
Yeah, I guess they do.
It's become quite popular at the minute.
Yeah. But, I mean, the game itself is some fancy version of chess.
Yeah.
But in terms of high quality games, it's just internet infrastructure. And more specifically, obviously people want to be doing it wherever they are. Therefore, it's probably going to be wireless. Therefore, you're going to have latency issues. Whereas if you're at home with wired, you eliminate, obviously if you have a good router and you have a really good internet connection, you can eliminate most of those latency issues. I keep struggling with that word, latency. Yeah,
I think you got it. I think you got it.
yeah, I think I got it now. Yeah, latency issues.
English is hard.
Yeah, it is. So it's not the internet speed that's much of an issue for the most part. It's just the latency issues. You can get away with most internet speeds for most people. It is just literally the latency.
Yeah. It will happen, but when it happens, I don't know.
Yeah, obviously they've been pushing it since the PS3 era. Then more were pushing last gen, and this gen, they're still going, still trying it. Obviously, now that you've got companies that aren't Microsoft or Sony pushing into it, like Google with the Stadia, Amazon with their, what was it called again? I can't remember what it was called again. The Amazon version of it, and some other companies as well, and they're pouring in billions of dollars into it. I feel like that might help it grow a bit more.
Yeah, but they've all failed, haven't they?
Oh yeah, they have. But the thing is, to them, it's never a serious endeavor.
Yeah.
Because with someone like Amazon, they have so many experiments going on. It's like the phone thing they had and a bunch of other stuff. They do these experiments. They don't fully commit to it. They don't commit to it in terms of it's do or die. So if it works, great. They make it into a subdivision that's a proper core business. If it doesn't, they don't really try and revive it. Whereas Sony's been doing it since PS3 and Microsoft has been researching it and now been releasing stuff for a long time. For them, they're going to keep trying to revive it because if they lose that, that could potentially be their whole business in 5 years gone. Whereas Amazon,
Sony, but would Microsoft, do they really care that much?
Okay, I mean Xbox portion of Microsoft.
But do Microsoft really care that much about Xbox?
No, but I mean just the Xbox portion of it. Like, assuming Xbox...
If Xbox they keep continuing how they are,
yeah,
will Microsoft keep bankrolling?
Because obviously a lot of the things have become cross-platform. They bore up a lot of game studios, so obviously in all that...
They do, but they keep messing them up. They've done it before, haven't they? They brought game studios, and then they were good, and then they completely destroyed them.
Yeah, because them buying ZeniMax, that was a big one.
Yep.
Then there was another one that in talk with buying as well. Now I can't remember what it's called, but then the big one they was in talk with buying, and they in talks with buying another just tech company as well, for like $9 billion. Yeah, Microsoft have been saving the money and
they're buying them. Will Mocha allow them to do that?
What part of it?
They're already starting to crack down on conglomerates being too big.
I feel like Microsoft, because a lot of the limelight is on Apple with the Fortnite, Epic stuff, and Facebook and Google and whatnot, they're sort of just going under the radar and doing what they want to do. I
think the outcome of Epic v Apple is going to affect Microsoft and Sony quite a lot.
It will, but if they can gather some of those companies now, I think that's why they might be going hard at it. If they can gather them now while people aren't looking at them.
Yeah, but then governments can reverse anything.
They can, but I feel like they won't willy-nilly, and even then they'll probably come up with some sort of structure where they're split up, but they're more powerful than they ever was anyway.
But you only need that next generation of politicians to come through. Bernie Sanders style.
But younger. He's old.
But he's got a lot of popular support with the younger people coming through.
Oh yeah, he has.
And he's got a lot of proteges that are kind of high level in that party.
Oh, you're talking about AOC and that?
Yeah. And that if they win it, or even control the government.
Yeah. I like Bernie. Overall, I like Bernie. I think he's decent.
He's different.
Yes. And
Biden's a career politician, same as Clinton was.
Yes.
That's why people love Trump.
Yeah,
because he wasn't a career politician.
He's just a businessman who just came into it.
I mean, Clinton, she was a bit sleazy.
Oh yeah, she's dodgy.
She was only in the front running and seemed to be getting it because she supported her husband for so many years.
Oh yeah, like
So it was like her turn now. It's not because she was better than Sanders.
yeah,
It's just because it was.
and she's
We
female.
promised to give you in a few years, so
Yeah.
we'll give it you now.
And because she's female, like, you know, let's be honest with that as well. Again, I have no problem with having a female, black or whatever president you want to do or prime minister, but I want the best one. If that's not female this year, then I don't want them. If next time the best is female, then I want that person. But like you know, it's gonna be a thing where Michelle runs as well. She's gonna do something, and it'll just be because she was Obama's wife. She's female, and because she's black. That like trifecta.
I don't think she'll run. I don't think she wants to.
I don't know. I feel like she'll do something.
Yeah.
If it's not that, maybe some subdivision of the government, and she'll run to or like try and get that job. I'm not saying she's going to get you know the head of the Fed, Janet Yellen's job, but something like that, a very powerful position that's not necessarily just voted in every few years. I think she might go for something like that. So some sort of they call them MPs here, but what do they call senators? Like maybe some sort of powerful senator there or something, influential senator. She might try and do that.
But then she might have seen how broken their system is, and just how little effect they actually end up having.
Yeah, but
I mean, Obama's basically had all his policies reversed.
Oh yeah, and even most of those ones that he promised never came in. Like Guantanamo Bay, never got shut down. I mean, nothing happened with that.
Leaving Iraq and Afghanistan, never really did it.
No,
it took him years to do it.
Yeah, and the thing is, so promises anyway because he knows that's what's going to get the votes.
And ultimately, he doesn't really have that power.
No, he doesn't.
The senators have the power,
yeah. And they're there before and after.
And they're funded by all the companies in America.
Oh yeah. And with paperwork and legal red tape, it takes so long to get anything through anyway, that even if he could have done it, he doesn't have enough time to do it in the 8 years he's there.
I mean, they're a democracy, but they're not far off some of those futuristic movies where like the conglomerates kind of control all the governments.
Oh yeah, it is basically that. It's a, they said people think it's a democracy, but it's more like a plutocracy.
I want to say meritocracy, but
no. It wasn't meritocracy. Obviously, meritocracy is based on your merit, based on let's say how good.
Yeah. That's how it should be.
Yeah, it should be like it should be a mix of the two, democracy and meritocracy. Yeah, a bit left, a bit right. Like I'm in favor of a bit of capitalism, a bit of communism, because at the end of the day, if you have too much of one, it outbalances things, because you can't have the social programs of communism without the growth of capitalism. But what's the point of having all that growth if you're not putting it back into the, people anyway, through schools, roads, or whatever?
So you want the Chinese system?
I think that's a pretty decent system. In some areas, it's not the best, but I think it's decent. I haven't been there, but from what I've actually researched, not following what BBC and Sky News tell me, but what I've researched, it's not. I don't think it's a fully bad system. I think there's some Scandinavian countries that have sort of, I don't know what they call it. They don't call it socialism. They call it, I think, democratic socialism.
Yeah. Possibly.
Yeah, that is like it's basically a tamed version. It's a way that they can persuade people, and it's not that hard of a pill to swallow. The big of a pill to swallow.
The interesting thing when we went to China was that we learned that we didn't know that they do actually have elections over there.
Yeah.
And they elect people, but so the normal people elect people to their local government.
Yeah.
And then those people elect the next higher level, and then so on and so forth to the top level.
Okay. So it's just it just trickles up instead of.
You have to be a member of the Communist Party, obviously. So it's the only way you get elected. But
yeah. Yeah, like obviously it's easy.
It's technically elections, but you don't ever hear about that.
Yeah, no, the thing is, obviously, Russia, China, Iran, all those countries, the ones that are generally considered the enemy countries, the enemy states, partly, especially with China, partly because there's jealousy and they know they've got production down to a T.
China, I think, it's just a similar situation to Britain with America back in the 40s, 50s, 30s.
In what way?
Just it's the next country taking over
the
lead of the world.
Oh yeah, like they've
America's just more powerful than we were back then.
Yeah.
So they're taking it harder.
Yeah.
Or not willing to take it.
Yeah, because I think it helps to some extent that their geographical landmass is huge as well. Whereas with UK it was so tiny.
I mean, they have like a quarter of the world's population as well.
Yeah. They got a lot of the world prisoners as well. I don't know what the current what the number, but it's high.
Is it?
Yeah, it's high.
Yeah. But then it was the safest I've ever felt.
No, I'm talking about America.
Oh, America. Yeah, America's just corporate prisoners, aren't they?
Yeah, because it's like they have an incentive to put people in there, so they'll invent laws that really, if you speak to the average person, they wouldn't say that warrants a prison sentence, or not a long one.
Well, America, it's if you're rich, you get away with it.
Yeah.
You get a fine or a bail, but
I mean,
you're poorer, you get a prison sentence.
And so some places,
which technically makes things worse because then you can't work.
Nope.
And then you're going to commit crime when you come out.
Yep, and you're just mentally messed up. So even if you can get a job, you're just more inclined to do something, bad and negative. So you end up getting twisted into a certain mindset.
I mean, even over here, if you've got a criminal conviction, you're very unlikely to be hired.
Yeah.
Like you have to put it on the form. They check you out. On the system. I don't think in my role you'd even be allowed a job. Yeah,
probably something financial, legal, anything like that. I can imagine that. I can understand that to an extent.
You can, but I think it depends on what the crime was.
Yeah, because
is what it should be.
Yeah,
and
obviously.
The reasons for the crime.
Oh yeah, because if you did something, let's say 17, and it was such a minor crime, but if you look at the circumstances, there's just a bit of bad luck, and you end up getting, the way you got caught and you got slapped with 5 years or something, or 10 years. Then it's like that's such a minor thing in compared to, let's say you're 35 and you've killed 5 people.
Yeah.
Actually, you're probably not going to get out of jail for that.
Yeah, I was going to say there's pretty much no defense for that one.
Okay. You're mid-20s and you hit someone with a car and you're speeding, but even then, that's still not as bad as shooting someone or killing someone, directly killing someone.
It's not, but it depends on how bad your driving was.
Oh yeah. What if he's only 2 miles over the speed limit?
Then it's like an accident, isn't it?
Yeah.
Would you have been committed? Well, I think it depends on rich or poor if you get over that.
Yeah. In this country, probably a bit more lenient. In America, if you're poor, you probably would have got slapped with some BS.
I think in America, I saw that apparently if you hit a pedestrian with your car and they're on the road, then it's their fault.
Yeah, it sounds like some sort of...
I don't know how accurate that is.
But it does sound like some sort of stupid rule that they have.
Yeah, they're in favour of the driver, where we're in favour of the pedestrian.
Yeah, because it's always the thing that you have right away if you're not in the car. Yeah,
ultimately, you're in charge of a really dangerous weapon.
Yeah.
So if you mishandle it, you can cause some serious harm.
Did your driving instructor ever used to say that to you?
Yes, all the time. That was the exact speech.
Yeah, he used to always say to me, "You are in a weapon of mass destruction." He's like, "This is your WMD. You need to use it wisely." I was like,
"You'd be driving past somebody's way in a traffic light, and they'd be like, stop! That person could be crossing."
I'd be like, "I was going to, but you're stressing me out now. Might end up going anyway, just because of you."
Yeah, it is the thing. Sometimes they make it harder, these driving instructors.
Oh yeah, I had this old guy called, pretty old, he's probably very old now if he's still alive, called Graham, and he used to swear at kids. He's the road out there. If the kids didn't, like on the zebra cross, if they crossed where they shouldn't have done, and obviously that made me stop. He openly started swearing at them, put his finger up to.
I don't know. You spend quite a lot of time with these people, so it makes it interesting.
Oh yeah, it was a cool fair bit of time. You passed on your first time, didn't you?
No.
Was he on your fourth?
No.
Third? Second? Fourth?
I think it was 4.
Was he fourth? I thought you was first.
No, I think Lee was the only one that was first.
And me and Lee.
Oh, was you first as well?
Yeah.
Actually, Lee was 2. He just never told us about the first one.
I did that?
Yeah.
Addy was 3rd or 5th?
Just 5th.
And I think there's even something around that we don't know. I think it might have even been more than that.
Yeah, I mean, see, the passing and failing, I think sometimes is just instructors don't want to pass you.
Oh, yeah. They have a certain amount of people they need to pass and fail. There's that. The other thing, it depends on what instructor you get. So I remember when I went to do my driving test, I'm guessing a similar thing for you. we parked up. We're sitting in a room with instructors and the student. Yeah, I guess technically, we're students. We're going to take the driving test, and then the driving instructor would come out, say a name, then you go with that driving instructor. And remember, this bold driving instructor came out. One of those mean-looking short guys that you'll see that's probably at the pub afterwards, and who's always up for a fight, but he's got a bit of a belly. One of those ones. He came out. He called someone, and they went. And I remember as soon as they left the building, all the instructors said, "Yeah, he failed." I said to my instructor, Graham, I was like, "What do you mean he's failed?" It's just like he never passes anyone. It's just like if you're going with him, you're screwed. I was like that's not what I want to be hearing. Literally minutes before mine. Then my guy came. He's a pretty nice old man. Luckily, Graham didn't tell me who he was. He was the head instructor. Graham said, "I didn't tell you just in case that ended up stressing you out." But he was fair. Like, he wasn't super lenient, but he was fair. He was understanding. If you did something dodgy, he probably would have fouled it for it. But he was fair. So, but I think that's sometimes you get with the higher ones. They're a bit fairer.
I mean, sometimes they just fail you for silly reasons.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's like somebody else is driving badly and they've caused you to fail.
Yeah. Because like in the real world, you get bad other drivers that are doing things that they probably shouldn't be.
I mean, you see it a lot.
I know. I think I'm not gonna say, but I think I know what you're referring to. Yeah. I know what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always think about that place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When I go to this nearby, when I go past it.
Still do it I drive past it most days.
Oh yeah, you must do for a while. That guy.
It's unbelievable.
These taxi drivers. He was a taxi driver, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was a foreign taxi driver.
He was a Wolverhampton taxi driver. That didn't know the area.
Yeah, and that's nearby. Anyone that's listening.
Oh yeah, I just told him a region.
Yeah.
Oof. Pinpoint where you live.
No, we already mentioned Fountain Arcade, Dudley, and we already mentioned our places. And
that's
Churchill.
Yeah.
I think that's a bit more pinpointing it than the other thing. I think like the 4 viewers, one of them probably you and Addy. Addy's gonna be like, "Yeah, I know where you live."
Nah, he's forgot.
Yeah, he'll message me. Yeah, where do you live? Okay, should we wrap up?
Yep.
It's been 1 hour, 57 minutes, so it's about to hit the 2 hour mark, almost as long as Addy's. I remember what did he say before we did the podcast?
What was Addy's up?
He was, do you want to try and beat it? Let me have a look. I believe he's just a tad over 2 hours. Let me have a look though. His was 2 hours and 52 seconds. I would say if we do it to 2 hours, 2 minutes, with the editing, that'll still be longer. 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, we can easily figure out something to talk about. Okay, so after this, we're going to have food. What are we having?
I don't know, you tell me.
Making chicken and waffles. And you say you never tried it before?
No.
It's one of those foods that you see like in American TV shows or movies. It's like, I don't know if they call it soul food. Something like that. It's nice.
I don't think it's soul food.
It's not soul food?
No, I think that's a different type of like southern food.
It might
be actually. Might be right, I don't know.
Maybe. I thought it was, but it's possible. We can have a look after. So the chicken I'm going to do in an air fryer, but it is frozen breaded chicken, so it's basically going to taste like fried chicken. So waffles, homemade waffles. I did the mixture before you came. It's in the fridge. That's what I found works really well with pancakes and waffles. Do the mixture, leave it in the fridge for at least 30 to 60 minutes, even a day is fine. And then obviously just giving it just another quick stir because obviously everything starts to separate. And that gets a thicker, whatever it is that you want.
I feel like that's for everything cooking related.
Yeah.
Patience.
Yeah.
Is the best friend.
Yeah.
Leave stuff marinating overnight.
Oh yeah.
Makes things much better.
Marinated some chicken for me because Munna's gone to see her mom today, but she's gonna be coming back tonight, and we're gonna have some chicken in the Ninja as well. And the chicken is just some chicken strips. It's just from a meat shop, but I bought some Nando's style marinade. But it wasn't Nando's one because that's the cost about $250 for like 600 grams. Aldi have got their own version for 250 grams, 80 something p.
Oh, is it like the peri something?
Yeah, is it white with some like colourful writing on there? Yeah, I've seen it a few times, never bought it. I was just like, this time The Nando's one has run out. I wouldn't mind trying it. So I bought the hot one. Add a little smell and just like a little dab on my tongue. Tastes good. Just the actual marinade does. I've got a high hopes for it. If it's good, 80 something p, 85p or whatever.
Have you ever bought one of those recipe kits? Like the subscription ones?
No.
Simply Cook.
I know the ones you mean.
Whatever else they're called.
I know. It's expensive. What are you getting?
It can be. Like, it ranges from just the spices. They give you just spices to they can give you all of it.
Yeah, because sometimes
besides meat, they never give you the meat.
Yeah.
I can understand that. I don't want the meat from them.
Yeah.
I'd rather buy my own.
Yeah, it's a hard thing for me to warrant doing because me and Munna cook often. I've been cooking for over 10 years now, and
generally, those like if you try something that you're not going to have all the ingredients for without going out and going to special places.
I can understand that because sometimes I'll look at a recipe and they'll mention a couple of ingredients. I'm like, why would I have that?
Yeah.
Sometimes let's say it's a video and be like Jamie Oliver or something, and you'll be like, everyone's got this. It's like nobody has that.
It's kind of like Indian, like Bangladeshi food.
Yeah.
How much of the stuff that like in a general like English kitchen do you actually have?
Okay, for me that's a bit different because I've got probably all that stuff.
I also now have all of it as well, but
yeah, because you started
speaking
cooking.
to people at work, like they don't.
No, yeah, I can understand. What sort of things have you noticed that they don't have?
Like, they don't generally have a lot of spices.
So like turmeric, cumin.
Yeah, turmeric, cumin, cinnamon, cardamom.
Okay, cardamom pods. That sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I don't have. Like I very rarely have.
Oh, I have cardamom pods.
Is that the one that kind of looks like a star?
No, that's stars. Cardamom pods are like kind of seed-looking things.
No, that's not the one I'm talking
They
about.
just have a really like pungent smell.
No, that's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one that kind of looks like a starfish kind of thing.
That's starfish.
Maybe. I've seen recipes where they're putting rice.
Yeah.
And they just float to the top and there'll be a bunch of the bees want to take them out after.
Yeah, cardamom pods, you have to take them out as well.
Yeah.
Generally cook that with rice and gives it like a different taste.
Been rice. Actually, if you think about what to have with the ninja today with the chicken today with I was thinking about maybe chips, but I've got some frozen chips. Might just make some rice because rice is so easy to make.
Rice is easy to make. Have you bought a rice cooker yet?
No, I need to get one.
You need to buy a rice cooker.
I need to get one.
And you need to buy like a Chinese brand one.
Yeah.
Because or like Japanese, South Korean, something like that. They're generally the best style, best ones. They a little bit more usually, but not massively.
How much was yours?
My one's about 40 quid.
That's not a lot though, I don't think.
Like the Chinese style ones, general East Asian. Southeast Asia? Southeast Asia?
I'll say East Asia.
East Asia, let's go at East Asia. They're generally about 80, 90. But you can do steaming and stuff as well.
Okay, so it's steaming because I don't have a steamer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are they also a slow cooker as well?
They can be, but generally they're quite small pots, like going up to like 2 to 4 portions. So
okay, yeah.
it's whether you want to cook something kind of that small portion wise.
Yeah, I probably will get a rice cooker. It's something that I think people should have. I know a lot of people, especially my type of Asian, are very anti, especially older people like parents, just because it's just like, oh, I don't need a system. Like I can just make the rice, and even though they may be good at making it, it's like you use other utensils.
Yeah.
So why not use this? It's the reason I don't have a problem with buying certain ingredients, buying certain stuff. It's like you would use other utensils, so it's no different.
Yeah, it's no different to really a slow cooker.
Slow cooker.
Would people have a slow cooker or a pan on a stove?
Or an air fryer? No, actually, a lot less people have air fryer. Or a fryer, with oil. Like, people would have that.
Yep.
But they would probably have a problem with having an air fryer.
Yeah.
I think, because it's not old school.
But generally, we're more bothered about health.
Yeah, health and it being less involved from us. As in, we can just leave it. It does its thing. After X amount of time, it's done.
It's that, and also fryers. Yeah, sure, it tastes better fried, but then you've got to clean it.
cleaning, and
And
then
cleaning and disposing of the oil is a lot of work.
it is.
So that's why.
Yeah. And is the taste worth all the health problems that we currently know about? When there's alternatives like the air fryer, how well that works, good air fryer, it's like becomes hard to warrant. At least like it's something that I feel less guilty about if I go out somewhere and I buy, let's say, some sort of fried chicken, because I don't have it at home. I don't feel guilty about having it now and again to go out. I'm like, I don't have it. I don't always have it, so it's like it's a rare thing.
Yeah, I just don't feel guilty, but I don't have it at home.
Yeah. But yeah, like you say, it's just too much hassle. The cleaning, but it's also like with the air fryer. I keep going back to that, but even with the air fryer or with the oven, but air fryer does it better. You just whack it in there. After X amount of minutes, it's done. It turns off. But with the thing, you got to heat up the oil. Generally speaking, you should be standing there. You know, you've got to put it in there. You got to be definitely standing there once you put it in there. And sometimes the temperature starts dropping, so you're going to increase the hob a bit, and then like the oil spitting or the cleanup after is a pain as well. The services.
I understand why unis they didn't let you have it.
Yeah, health and safety.
Have fryers. Imagine students with fryers.
Because they didn't even have gas hobs.
Yeah, they didn't. No gas.
And I think certain type of heaters were technically banned as well.
Is always electric. The ones at all the places I lived at.
Yeah.
Never gas. There was no gas in the building.
Yeah. Yeah, which when you got some people were getting really drunk.
Yeah. Considering my first year, somebody did set fire to the kitchen.
Yeah, they did. Tell us that story. Was it that big guy? I mean, yeah, there was a big guy in your first flat, like really tall guy.
Yeah, he was really tall.
Yeah.
Skinny. He just cooked a pork chop in the grill.
You forgot, didn't he?
He closed the lid. He closed like the door, so like it was closed grill. Left it on and left the pork in there cooking. And he went to go to Tesco to go buy some stuff, which is down the road.
Yeah, but did he know he had forgot that? Or
he deliberately left it on to cook.
Okay, so he thought he could just get there and back in time.
Yeah, you would have been able to be back in time. You close it up, fire, grill, fatty piece of pork, I think it was.
Student ovens aren't the cleanest, so there's going to be grease around there anyway.
Yeah, but I don't think many people use the grill besides him.
Okay.
Generally, you just use the oven because you don't have to watch it. You just stick it in there and walk away.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just closed it up, walked away, and then he wasn't even back by the time the fire was happening and the fire brigade was there. He wrecked the kitchen.
How bad was it? I think you did show me a picture about a few years ago.
The cooker was destroyed pretty much, but the rest of it was just fire damage, like smoke. It was just smoke damage, really.
How long was the kitchen shut for?
Just a day or so.
Okay.
They pretty much cleaned it out pretty quick.
And replaced the oven quick.
Yeah. Well, you always had two, didn't you, as well? So they just ordered a second one.
Two?
Oh, we had two cookers, Naz.
Did you?
Yeah. 2 cookers, 2 fridges, 2 freezers.
Oh,
no, 1 freezer.
But how many people was in your first accommodation again, though? Was it 8?
8, yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. Because my first accommodation was 6. Maybe they thought 6 they can get away with just the one set of everything.
Possibly.
Yeah. Maybe with 7 or 8 they thought.
I mean, it was 8, but he's barely ever in there with anybody else cooking.
That's all right, then. Yeah, no offense, I had that experience as well in first year. It was very rare. Like I think maybe once. I want to say it only happened once when every single person in that flat was in the kitchen at once. I remember it was a big deal. It's the first time. It was towards the end as well.
The only time it ever happened for us when we was having a party.
Okay.
And then there was loads of other people as well.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just talking about when we all just randomly were in there just doing our own thing.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't the nicest of accommodations, Filbert Village was that first one. It's alright, nothing special. I just missed that.
Yeah.
Missed the uni.
Yeah, I missed the 9 months or 3 months of summer holiday.
Oh yeah. But once you factor in Christmas, Easter as well, you almost got half the year off.
You do, yeah. I don't miss the exams though.
No, I don't miss that. But what was worse, ACCA or uni exams?
What, in difficulty or?
Let's do difficulty first, in the intensity and difficulty of the exam. Obviously, technically, you're
Uni-
smarter and better now when you do
Uni
it.
was probably harder, but that was also because of how many exams she was doing
Yeah.
at similar time. But then ACCA was more difficult because you had work and a life as well.
Okay, so not necessarily the content itself, just the position that you are in your life at that moment.
Yeah,
Okay.
student, you pretty much have just that.
Yeah, and anything else that you're doing, it's your choice whether you do it or not.
Yeah, so like ACCA, you've got exams 4
Yeah.
times in the year when you can take them, set
Yeah.
times, and then your job, you just as busy throughout the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I mean, sometimes you work really late all week, and then you've got a weekend, you've got to go study.
Yeah.
And then you go back to work on Monday, and you're like, what have I done for me this week?
I know what you mean. Should we wrap up there?
Have we beat Addy yet?
Oh yeah, we beat him by a good 5 minutes or so.
Good.
Yeah, we beat him. Let me just confirm. Yeah, so the first podcast was an hour 23 and 59 seconds. Second podcast was 45 minutes 33 seconds. Third one was hour 17 minutes and 6 seconds. Then Addy's one was 2 hours and 52 seconds. And he's had the second most plays as well. I wonder if the correlation between length as well, maybe. Okay, and 43 minutes and 14 seconds was the fifth one. The sixth one was 44 minutes and 25 seconds. Okay, so this will be the longest. So this was episode 7 of the Just Average People podcast. I am your host, Tron Hussain. This was my guest and friend for 11 years. Yeah, I've known you for coming up to 11 years.
Yeah, I noticed everyone else got the introduction like that in the start of the video. But
Yeah, that they did.
I didn't.
Yeah, I forgot about the intro. I didn't even say what my name was at the start. Because I think in the other one I said, I am your host, blah, blah, blah. Definitely haven't said that. And that's the reason I just whacked it in there. So yeah, no, Stephen. This September, it'll be 11 years. And we met in college when we were 16. Yeah, 16.
Yeah. 16.
Yeah, 11 years. So same with Addy, same with Lee. We all went to the same college. Had somewhat similar classes. There was crossover.
Yeah.
That's how we met. And I'm hungry. Are you hungry?
Yes.
I'm starving. I haven't had anything all day except for the yogurt and 2 bananas and 2 bottles of water. That's it. Okay, so thanks for listening and bye-bye. Do you want to say bye?
See ya.
Bye-bye.